Okay, I think we're ready. We're ready. Oh, oh, hello. Hello, 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 hello. Hi. Forgot the mic was on. How's everyone doing tonight? It's Saturday night, and I feel all right. We got a new mobile camera. Look, look. It stays focused. It keeps focus when I bring it close to stuff. So we can monitor prints now. And it's not green anymore. That means I can turn VATS mode off. I got fed up. So for those that happen to not know, I have two streaming locations. I have the garage, but then I also have a room in the basement where we used to do everything from. Everything used to be done in the garage, but I moved out here, not last summer, the summer before. Wow, we've been out in the garage for a while already. Jeez, time flies when you're having fun. But I had a setup down there. It was more simpler than this. It only had the one camera, and it didn't have like it didn't have as much of a setup. But this camera died. I was actually fiddling with it earlier, and it died. The sensor is kaput. Like, it barely gets an image. So I took the setup from downstairs and I took the camera, which really sucks because I don't like doing that because it's a pain to take it all down. Because like the power comes from there, so I have to plug it in there, run the power up, and then down into the camera, and then I gotta run an HDMI cable all the way up and over, and then I have the camera on a quick release, so I can take it off and on pretty easy, but it's still annoying because later this week, or maybe early next week, I'm doing a stream from the basement because I got a resin printer, and it's warmer inside, so we're gonna be doing that inside. So how cold is it? It's 14 in the garage right now, but I've had the heater on low all day. So I'm still looking for a replacement camera, either a new overhead camera or a better Sony camera to take over as the main camera downstairs. But in the meantime, I needed an overhead camera up here, so I stole from the basement setup, which kind of sucks because I keep the permanent setup. Like, there's a reason that's mounted on an arm and that's mounted and this is on a tripod. It's because it's easier. That's the camera I do videos with. That's the camera for videos. I used to only do one stuff with cameras, and it got so annoying how to take it down and set it back up every stream. It gets really annoying really quick. So I like permanent setups for my streaming setup. There's a reason the GoPro lives on a stick now. So when I'm filming videos, like B-roll stuff, when I'm working on stuff, I can just quickly turn it on, record, and turn it off, and then pull all the footage later. I find if it's easier for me to set it up, I actually do it more. Then nothing's more annoying than going to do something because you enjoy doing it, like the cosplay stuff we're working on tonight. But then like you're like, I gotta set up a camera. I gotta mic myself. It gets really annoying really quick. So I'm working on a new workflow for things. The helmet video, which didn't do that good, and I'm disappointed about, but it is what it is. The helmet video was like the first of the new format for videos I like, where basically just record a bunch of scratched B-roll while I do it, and then once it's done, talk about everything I did and just put as much B-roll back into it to like cover up the fact that the video is really, when you take the B-roll off, just 20 minutes of me yapping into a camera. Edited down to like 10 minutes, but it still ends up being a 20-minute video anyways. So yeah. Personally, I can't watch higher than 1.5x. Oh, you started behind and you're catching up. Well, make sure you enter. If you haven't yet entered, every stream we give away a spool of POLYMAKER filament. Link in the video description. Enter for your chance to win. Do this now. But the only thing I don't like about, for some reason, there's a delay on the overhead camera when I switch to it. I don't know why. I don't know why. When I switch back to the main cam, there's no overlay, or there's no delay. But when I go to this camera, there's a delay. Can I fix this? Let me see. Can I fix this? Overhead camera. Device default custom. And there we go. Nope, it still does it. Oh well. Also, the stream is in 60 FPS, but the funny thing is, this camera is 24. The way YouTube works, you're allotted a higher bit rate. Is this 24? Yeah, I think it's 4K 24p. Yeah. So this main camera, the way YouTube works, if you don't know how YouTube works when it comes to streaming and bandwidth allocation, the higher the resolution you stream at, the more bandwidth YouTube allocates to you. So HDMI has to sync up. Yeah, it's weird though, because it didn't do that with the old camera. But anyways, what happens is, if you upload to YouTube at say 1080p 30 FPS, you are only allowed to upload to a YouTube live stream at 6,000 kilobits. So 6 megabit, okay, megabit per second, okay? But if you upload at the resolution and the frame rate that I upload, 1440p 60, YouTube gives you 18 megabit. You get 3 times the bandwidth. So that means YouTube crunches it less, so you get a higher quality stream. The only downside to that is I can only upload with a normal or a low latency delay. So that means if I clap my hands, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There you go. It's about a 6-second delay from the time I say something and then chat sees it. So when you see me go, whenever you see me during a stream go, hey chat, what do you think? Blah, blah, blah. And then I wait for a response. It's because I have to wait 6 seconds for you guys to actually see it. And then I have to wait for you to type it. So there's a buffer there. But it allows me to upload at a higher frame rate and a higher thing. But this camera's 24 FPS. I could do 30, and I probably should, because 30 divides into 60, 24 doesn't. So you get a little bit of ghosting, but it's not too bad. But if I go to 4K 30 on this camera, it actually crops it slightly. Where if I do 24p, I get the full resolution, which, considering how close the camera is to me, this is a 60mm Sigma 16, I'm about 8 inches from the camera right there. I'd rather that. Plus, nobody's ever complained about the frame rate. But this camera is 60 FPS. That's why you see it buttery smooth. Look how smooth this is, because it's 60 FPS. Also, stuff showed up. We're gonna go through that. I'm in the future. I am in the future. The winning lottery numbers are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 9. Nice. Did you know that statistically you have the same odds of winning the lottery with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 as you do any other number combination? Ooh, that's good. I'm chilling Gamer Subs tonight. Go buy some Gamer Subs, code Canuck. They sent me a bunch of their new flavors, so I'm drinking Bambu Blast right now. Let me pull it up here. Gamer Subs. So they just sent me a whole bunch of new flavors. So I'm trying Bambu Blast? Bowberry, that's what it is, Bowberry. It's good. Go buy some. Use the link in the description. Or just, you get free samples. You can, if you haven't done it, go sign up for free samples. Do it now, link in description. Hey Steve. So, what are we doing tonight? 2 things. A little bit of prep work. We're gonna go through a box here of stuff for this machine. And if all goes well, we're either gonna work on it Tuesday or Friday. I don't know exactly when. And then after that, we're going to do some power armor shit. And then throughout that, we're going to go on tangents. Tonight, we're not really doing much actual printing. Because I got to get working on the power armor again. I've got 2 videos worth of stuff with it banked. And I'm trying to get it done before I leave for China. Or at least get it near... I want to get the legs done. Because I got a feeling once I get the legs done, the rest will be a little bit easier. To an extent. Oh, and we are going to yap about Bambu. I know yesterday I said I was done with it and I don't care anymore. But, you know, you're not supposed to kick people when they're down, but when they keep shooting themselves in the foot, you kind of have to laugh. But before we get into any of that, we have this box. Behold, a box. Hopefully it doesn't have my shipping address on it. 1 second. No, we're good. We have a box. Look, look, it's a box. What's in the box? I don't know. Let's use our fancy overhead camera and take a look. Whoa! We got a beacon sticker. Is it backwards? Is that? Oh, I gotta mirror that. I gotta mirror that. 1 second. Overhead camera. Bigger video. Oop, no. 1 second. Let me just. Video decoder. No. How do I flip it? 1 second. Let me. No, that's. How do I flip horizontally? Overhead camera. 1 second. 1 second. Transform. Flip horizontally. There we go. Okay, there you go. Beacon. Okay, 1 second. Here. I don't actually have it properly lined up yet, but anyways. So, this showed up from Luke's Lab. So Luke's Lab, if you don't know who Luke's Lab are, they are the biggest fan of the Orange Storm Giga because they make the kit to make it the Blue Storm Giga, which is a functional printer. And he does custom printers for commercial and business use cases, but he does a bunch of other cool upgrade stuff and whatnot. I don't have a link in the video description. When we do the video on this, I will have links, and shout out to Luke for sending me this stuff. But this is the Jupiter, which is their tool head board. So we've got some cables here. I haven't gone through this box. I just opened it up to make sure it is what I thought it was, and then that's it. So this is the tool head board. Now, I am gonna put a disclaimer in the video. It's got cats on it. Focus. It's got cats on it. That is cool. It's got kitty cats on it. Steve will like that. So we got that. And then I'm assuming this is the board that you plug into your printer. This is like the power delivery board, because this is CAN bus, I believe. I believe this is CAN bus. So there's that. I will put a disclaimer though. The Jupiter, I was advised, is happiest at 48 volts. This printer is not 48 volts. This printer is a 24 volt system, which means I'm going to run this at 24 volts. It should still work. But it's happiest at 48. And also, the tube comes with 48 volt heaters. So I'm gonna have to swap them out with 24 volt heaters that I believe I have, but I gotta go digging. Here's the cable. I'm gonna have to make my own connections on it and whatnot, I'm assuming. He sent me a bunch of 9mm belt just in case I needed to get longer belts. Is Luke here? Hello, monkey. Well, I don't think that's not the Luke's Lab Luke. We got tube air. Oh, there's Luke. Okay, here's what I'm gonna do. Proper account. Okay, 1 second. There we go. There we go. Congratulations, Luke. You are blue now. So, you have power in my chat. And I just made you blue. That way your name shows up more. Because that's one thing that I don't like compared to Twitch. Twitch, you can VIP people, so their names show up as a different color and whatnot. It's easier to track. But with YouTube, you can't do that. So these heaters are 48 volts, and there's 2 of them. I believe. Is it? No, it's one. No, it's one heater. It's one heater, and it's 48 volts. So I'm gonna have to swap it out, unfortunately, with a 24 volt heater. I could technically run these at 24 volt, but they're like gonna be weak. So I'm gonna have to swap that out, which kind of sucks, but is what it is. It's already got the thermistor in, so that's good. So we got that. I'm just gonna leave this like that. We got some Greeblies with that. We got Bondtech extruder. I'm assuming he asked how I wanted it sent, and I'm like, send it how you would a customer. So this is everything for the tool head, by the way. As long as he doesn't F up the wiring, that's good to know. What extruder is this? This is the Bondtech. I think I know. This is the light, a new version of the light. Which one is it? LGX Lite Pro. Okay, so it's the LGX Lite Pro. Ooh, I got. It's a tube of white stuff and there's a curly hair on it. I'm hoping it's thermal grease. And that's an eyelash. Or actually, no, that's a wire. It's actually a little bit of wire. But yeah. Yeah. It's actually a little bit of wire. So, anywho, put that back in the box. What else do we got in here? These are, I'm assuming, the parts for... Where did I put my knife? I can't speak. Cannot speak. Cannot sleep. Where are you? Where'd my knife go? Oh, it's over here. Good. So these are the SLS components. This is the takeoff tool head. That's metal. It's amazing what you can do now with metal 3D printing, eh? Like, this is one metal 3D printed piece. Like, I'm gonna have to get some B-roll of this. So if I end up doing a video on it, I can actually like, this is what we put together. This is what it looks like before I put it together. If you want to watch me put it together, watch the stream. The clip for the beacon wire broken shipping. Oh, this guy? Oh! Oh no! I've got JB Weld. I've got JB Weld. I can JB Weld it. I'll just JB Weld it. Is that piece even millable? Fuck no. I mean, I'm sure if you had a masochist of a programmer and a extremely expensive Japanese 5-axis, you might be able to mill something functionally equivalent to this, but it would not be cheap. Or moldable. What manufacturing process are you talking about? Moldable? No, you would not be able to injection mold this at all. Yeah, Luke, I'll just JB Weld this. I'll just JB Weld it. In the future, what I would recommend, redesign this part for future production runs. A little tip, because I can see exactly where their weak point is. Get rid of that hole. That little hole right there, get rid of it. Make it a solid part right across, because it's sheared right there. I would have made that an entire single piece. Get rid of that hole. The upper holes are probably fine. Even this little hole, even this little hole in the middle. So, focus. This little hole in the middle, I would get rid of. Ah! Uh-oh. Uh-oh. It hit concrete. It hit concrete. Where'd you go? Where'd you go? Uh-oh. Oh, found it. I heard the jingle of it hitting concrete. I'm like, okay, we're good. So yeah. Wow, that's just light. I'm assuming it's aluminum, so yeah, I'll just JB weld it back together. And you tapped them for me. Thank you. Okay, and what else we got in here? Belt clamps. So this can all go back in the box. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I have JB weld. If not, I'll just grab some. POLYMAKERs for part cooling. Because, you know, we're going to need all the part cooling in an ABS printer. But it's nice to have if I do need it. And then, of course, you got to bring home the bacon. Bring home the bacon with a beacon. So we got a beacon. And it's the newer one that has an accelerometer in it. Does the tool head board have an accelerometer in it? Either way. How do I open this? Cheers, Boots. Yeah, so this is the bacon. The beacon. The bacon, the beacon. So there we go. So that is the takeoff tool head, I believe it's called. Do you see the live on gaming channel last week, or am I misreading? Yeah, I did a stream on the gaming channel. We're going to be doing that more. Hopefully this year, I'm going to try and do more streams on the gaming channel. Once or twice a week, whenever I got a bit time and I feel like playing a game and hanging out, we'll do some Twitch streams. I do like keeping the Twitch account active, simply for the fact that it's nice to have a backup pre-set up in case something ever happens to YouTube. We had a little scare last year with me almost being kicked off YouTube for streaming for a month because of the incident with the Helldivers cosplay, or the prop, the pistol or the rifle from the game or whatever that I printed that YouTube didn't like, and somebody reported me for wielding a firearm on live stream, and I almost lost the ability to live stream for a month. So I do like to keep the Twitch channel active at least, so that way it's monetized and it's like I do have a fallback point if something ever happens. It's nice to have a backup. Always have a backup. Especially when your job is content creation on a social media platform. You don't want to lose that ability. So yeah. I got to go through my drawers again and throw out and move a bunch of stuff and reorganize a bunch of this stuff. The new turkey bacon. I do not like turkey bacon. I tried turkey bacon because I'm on a diet now and I'm trying to cut down carbs, but I do like eating I don't eat a big breakfast. I don't eat breakfast anymore. I eat like an early lunch, so I don't eat till noon. I fast until noon. I have coffee though. You gotta have coffee. And then for lunch, I like to have breakfast and then I have dinner. That's pretty much what I do now. So I do like having like some eggs, bacon, and hash brown breakfast. Yes, is it the healthiest? No, it's not healthy, but I just count the carbs in it. So I only eat a portion, a right size portion. We're good. So I tried turkey bacon and no, nah, dog. So I eat low salt bacon. I go with low salt bacon. Speaking of low salt, Bambu. I can't. Why does everyone, how is Steam? Can anyone explain to me why Steam is the dominant video game distribution platform in the world? What does Steam do that nobody else does? What does Steam do that nobody else seems to do? Go down frequently. Never had. They don't do marketing. Steam barely does marketing. They just don't do dumb stuff. Have a reliable platform that has what you need and is easy to use at a good cost. their competitors just keep shooting themselves in the foot. When everyone else is just shooting themselves in the foot, you don't really have to do much to be the dominant platform. It's not rocket appliances. Just make a good thing and people will buy it. But when you make a good thing that people are buying and then you make it a bad thing, it is no longer a good thing. And people stop buying it. Like, all Bambu has to do is make good hardware, which they already have, optimized for mass production. Bambu does a lot right. Don't get me wrong. Bambu came into this market when people were making machines with off-the-shelf parts, and they optimized their platform. Like, the fact that they can make an X1 cheaper than Prusa can make, like, the fact that the X1 and the P1 cost what it costs for what it is mechanically is insane. They've optimized for production. All they had to do was make the machines easy to use and keep people happy, right? Because they're doing stuff to try and guarantee future sales at the cost of current sales. They're locking their platform down, restricted API access for who knows what reason. I know I spoke with somebody who got into an early version of their firmware, and they told me, hey, there was a lot of code in there for RFID stuff that's been commented out, which shows at one point they wanted to limit it to their filament only. Now, was that an idea that they never even thought of bringing to fruition, and it was just some code that was left over from a previous iteration? Who knows? But it was there. And then the freak out with, you know, when X1 Plus came out, and then they started changing the bootloader and everything to make it so you couldn't put custom firmware on the machine. Once they sell the machine, that's it. They've made their money. Once the machine leaves the store, currently, this is where you need to start thinking. Once the machine leaves the store, Bambu has made their money, and in their current setup. In their current operation, the way that Bambu currently operates as of now, when the machine leaves the store, when you give them your credit card number and they get the machine, they have made their money. There is nothing else for them to make money on off of you. So why do they want to restrict how you're using their machine now that you have it? If you go, I don't have the link on me on hand because again, this is a different computer than my desktop. Somebody posted on their subreddit the other day a link to their wiki. It was in Mandarin or Cantonese. It was in Chinese. And somebody started doing a bunch of Google translating, and there's a lot of references to farm software. And in those farm software references, it's called Bambu Farm. Tiers, paid tiers. So why are they limiting what you're doing with the machine now that it's left? They're trying to tinfoil. Oh, wait, no, I got the perfect hat for this. They're trying, tinfoil hat, to basically control how you use the machine now. Why would they want to control how you use the machine now? EA makes video games. Activision makes video games. Those video games have microtransactions. They have paid subscription services. They have tiers. So why? Could be that. Could also be data collection. MakerWorld is a file repository site where they pay you to use it. Why do they pay you to use it? Currently, what does Bambu make profit off of on? Now, I believe MakerWorld does have a paid system where if you're a content creator, you can upload your models there and people can buy your models. And I'm assuming they're skimming off of that. There's a percentage they probably get it. It's all laid out. That's fine. But Bambu, like, they're not the only one that does that. Prusa does that. Prusa, I think, did it first. Cults does that. Patreon does that. These sites are doing it because Patreon sucks for file distribution, let's be honest. So it makes sense to have a file site. But there's also that juicy data. So is it data collection? Is it profiteering? Is it locking down the ecosystem so that down the line, when the new machines come out, oh, these have high resolution cameras. Oh, you wanna monitor your print remotely? Well, you know, data costs money. Data costs money. It costs money to run a server to send live webcam feeds to your phone with your Bambu Handy app. That costs money. Eventually, they're gonna have to make money off that, or at least have some form of profit counteracting the, like, because that's a sunk cost for them. Right now, they're not making money off of you streaming your webcam. Data costs money. So our future machines gonna have, oh, if you wanna monitor your prints remotely, it's free. But if you want to upload your prints remotely and check your webcam when you're not connected to your home network, oh, well, that's a $9.99 a month subscription. That's the problem, because here's the thing. They've shown they're willing to lock it down and remove features and gatekeep access. That's the thing. Will they do any of this? Hopefully not. I wish they don't, but I fear they will, because they've shown now they can do it. They've built the foundation of this type of ecosystem. And that's what I fear. I want them to make better printers for everyone. I like healthy competition in the market. But if the 3D printing market turns into the FPV market, where it's like pretty much just DJI, we don't really win when there's only one choice. That's the problem. I want healthy competition, and I want machines that are easy for everyone to use, and they're open for everyone to use. I see a lot of people commenting on the Bambu subreddit, Discord, and whatnot. Well, this doesn't affect me, so why should I care? And that is the biggest slippery slope in the world. Because, you know, there's that, what's the story? You know, when they came for these people, I wasn't those people. So I didn't speak up. And then when they came for those people, I wasn't those people. So I didn't speak up. But then one day they came for me, and there was nobody left to defend me. That's the problem. If you let them get away with one thing, you let them get away with everything. Once the ball starts rolling, it's very hard to stop that ball. So what do? You bitch, moan, and complain. That's what we got as open source communities. You bitch, moan, and complain. You post tweets at them. You fill out forms. You stop buying their machine. The amount of comments I got from people that say, hey, I'm running print farms with Bambu printers. Yeah, we're not buying these anymore. We're going to use the machines they have, and when they stop working, we're going to replace them with non-Bambu machines. Right? There goes 50 unit sales. Who knows? Times however many people. Because, like, if you're relying on these machines for your business, imagine one day you walk in and they all auto-updated firmware, and now they don't work with your farm management software. Like, you're SOL as a company. It's not that what they're doing, you know, it shouldn't be this way. They are put, and here's the thing. They're claiming it's for security. There are open source ways of doing this. Auth2, I'm not a programming guy at all, but multiple people have mentioned for the security implementations they want to do, there is open source, easy to use methods of implementing these protections that will not mess with people's ability to still access the printer with third-party resources. OAuth 2, yeah, OAuth 2. There are open source ways that they can implement these security features that will protect the printers, protect their network, and still allow people to run their third-party software that connects and talks to the printers. So the fact that they're straight up not doing that is an immediate red flag that this is not just about security. Simple as that. Because, you know, well, why are you doing that? But why are you also adding all this other stuff there? Well, it's for security. Yeah, but you could have just done it this way and not have to mess with all that. And these libraries already exist. Why are you, by the way, I'm talking to people that are already digging into their farm app. Oh my God, they're programmers. It's like zip bombs built into it kind of shit. It's like, what the hell? But yeah, it's like, it's like, they could be like, if you watch the stream regularly, if you've noticed, my opinion on Bambu has been softening. I've been not promoting, but I've been recommending their printers more and more lately because they are very good printers for newbies to this hobby. But that's pretty much going to stop now, because I'm not going to recommend a printer to somebody who comes to me in good faith and asks me to recommend a machine. I'm not going to recommend them a machine that I can't guarantee in 1 year will behave the way it behaves today. So that's my Bambu spiel. We have to hold their feet to the fire for this kind of behavior, because this behavior that they're doing now leads to things that are not better for the consumer down the line. The only people this benefits are the bottom line of the company. And guess what? They're doing just fine right now. They were doing just fine a year ago. Well, actually, about a year ago, they had the A1 recall issue. But otherwise, like, they make a good machine. Just keep making a good machine. Don't F with people's ability to use the tool. These are tools. Let people use the tool the way they want to use it. And guess what? When you make a good machine that people want to use because it works with a lot of stuff, they buy more machines. There's a reason people use Steam more than the Epic Game Store. It's easier to use, it's more user-friendly, and it doesn't bullshit you around. It just works. Is an extremely valid sales tactic. So that's my Bambu spiel. That's my Bambu spiel. I wish they were doing better. I hope that they reverse these decisions. I hope they become much more communicative with because again, remember, in their blog posts, they're like, oh, don't worry, we're working to talk with third-party apps like Orca Slicer. And then Orca Slicer put an update out today where they're like, yeah, no, dog, they straight up denied us. We're not allowed to use the API key. Soft Fever? If you need the API key, I got it. We've already hacked into it. Or people I know have already done it. But anyways, like, they're making this, they're bringing heat on themselves, and it's not benefiting anyone, because it's not about security. They could have implemented these security patches without restricting access. So that immediately tells me it's about locking down the ecosystem so they have more control over it, so they can potentially do more things to it. And we've already seen the first thing where they're limiting slicers. It's the foundation of a tiered paid ecosystem with more control over it. Who knows? I know a lot of the 3DP 2A people like to use Bambu machines. All they're going to do one day, who knows? Maybe they can shove AI in there and limit what you print. Oh, you're printing a model not from MakerWorld, not sliced on our slicer? That's denied. Now, they could not do that. I hope they don't do that. But they're laying the foundations to implement something like that. And they've already shown they're willing to take away features. So do you trust them now? Do you trust the company with the $500 thing that can, if used improperly, can cause damage to people? If used improperly, can do illegal things? It's a tool. So just make a good printer that people like using, and people will keep buying your printer. They sell like hotcakes. They sell like hotcakes. So why you pulling us around like this? Why are you doing this? Because it's not for security. We've established that. It's straight up about control. And also, not everything has to go through your servers. Let us have full control of the machine in offline mode. Like, not everything has to go through your servers. I know the way your network is set up is that everything has to go through your servers, but they don't have to. Why do I need to, why can't I use, like, why is the webcam got to go through the server on LAN mode? Why can't I just do, like, why does the webcam feed shit on LAN mode when I have, gigabit internet in my house? Like, yeah, the AMS already has an RFID reader. Yeah. I could go for some hotcakes too right now, I'll be honest. I think I'm doing McDonald's or pancake breakfast in the morning now. Is X1 Plus dead? No. I was talking with the X1 Plus people yesterday. The X1 Plus people has had more people join their Discord in the past like 2 days than like the past year. And they sent me their board. I have the X1 Plus board. It's in my computer room upstairs. I got the expander board for the X1. And then I also have a Diamondback nozzle from Bambu, or from E3D. So guess what? At some point in the near future, we're going to be taking this off the shelf and I'm going to be doing upgrades on it. But this thing does not talk to the internet. This is running X1 Plus and it's completely firewalled from the internet. I won't let this thing on the internet. I don't trust it anymore. So yeah. that's my Bambu spiel. I think that came out pretty good. So yeah. So Bambu, do better, please. Please do better. Make better machines. Don't take away people's features. Don't mess with how people use their tools. People that use tools have a workflow. And when you mess with the workflow, it sucks. I'm a mold maker by trade. I have my tools in my toolbox the way they are, and I use them the way I use them because that's how I use them. When you add a step in between, I'm not going to slice something with Orca, export the 3MF file, open Bambu Connect, upload the file to Bambu Connect, go, oh wait, I got to change a setting, load back up Orca Slicer, reslice it, re-export the 3MF, and then reload it up to my, no, you're making it annoying on purpose. It benefits nobody. Just make a good machine that's good and easy to use and people can use it the way they want and it'll sell good. Because if you don't do that, there's ulterior motives in place, which we believe you might be setting up for some stuff that people aren't gonna like. So it is what it is. Do better, please. I want to keep recommending your machines. They are good machines for you newbies. But I can't recommend a machine that I don't know how the machine will behave in a year because of your updates and your changes. Because you've shown now that you're willing to change stuff on us and remove features that we like. So yeah. There you go. That's my Bambu spiel. Like, comment, subscribe. After the stream ends, I'm going to cut that out, do a little bit of editing, and put it up on the channel tomorrow as a video. Let me put my regular hat back on. I'm keeping this. This is my tinfoil hat, which actually I think this is a Tripod's Garage hat that he gave me that I covered aluminum tape. So yeah, just make a better machine. Look, the overhead cameras, that works. This move from Bambu was planned from day one. Here's the thing. Did anyone watch Wan's show last night with Linus was talking about, if you don't know, don't talk about it, based off like what people say on their subreddit about like stuff that's ongoing. Oh, he's doing this show because he's planning to do tours and whatnot. And it's like, no, you don't know that. You don't know anything. If you don't know, don't talk about it. But the thing is, you can kind of infer. So a lot of what I just said was based on educated guesses and patterns of behavior and what people are seeing in the code and whatnot. So you got to be careful. Like, I'm sure I probably misspoke, and somebody will call me out for misrepresenting something during my little speech there, and it happens. I'm only human, and I'm speaking live. It is what it is. But if you don't know, you don't know. Has this been the plan from day one? I can't confirm that. Nobody here can confirm that except for Dr. Tao or whatever the guy's name is. That's in charge of Bambu. But the pattern is there. So you could see the foundation being laid, but we don't know what the building will look like. It's like a dinosaur bone. You can look at a dinosaur bone and you could think, well, maybe it looks like this, but we only have the bones to go off of, right? So, yeah. One second, I gotta wipe down my bench here. I got stuff all over it. Where is... Oh no, am I all out? No, I can't be out. Oh God, no. Of course not, I'm out. There we go. I'm running low though. Like a year ago, we screwed up and we bought like 2 cases of baby wipes from Costco. Because we bought a case and then we forgot we bought a case and then we bought another one while we still had like half a case. And the little guy doesn't use as many baby wipes as he used to because he's 7 this year. So keep baby wipes around. They're great for cleaning your little workspace. And if you get like grease and whatnot on your hand, just go buy non-alcoholic baby wipes. Everyone should have non-alcoholic baby wipes in their workshop. They're just do it. You're 100% walking through a well-treaded playbook. It's a reasonable path. That's what I mean. Like, the foundation is there to, you can see the groundwork has been laid. The pieces are moving into position, but what is the end goal? Simple as that. The thing is, for those that know, what is next week? What's going on next week for the next like 2 weeks? Yep, CNY. It's Chinese New Year. For those that don't know, Chinese New Year is basically New Year's, Christmas, and Thanksgiving all rolled into one over there. So pretty much all Chinese-based companies are going to be going dark for like 2 to 3 weeks very soon. And they're doing this just before that. So they need better communication. You can't just do this out of nowhere. That's the problem. You drop this on people on a Wednesday, and then just we're out. Power armor. That's what we're working on tonight. So what are we working on tonight? We did my bamboo spiel. This is the box of parts for the power armor that I still have. The chest piece and the rear piece I'm going to reprint. I'm probably going to reprint it. I don't like how they came out, and I may have to resize them. Because I'm currently in the process of losing weight. I don't want to go ahead and print anything yet until we're at that point in the build where I need to. But these are the rest of the pieces. So we're going to go through, see if I need to reprint it, because I printed these like a year ago. And then we're going to start doing some bondoing and sanding and whatnot. While I'm doing that, hey, do you want to win some filament? Every stream I give away a spool of filament from POLYMAKER. Link in the video description. Enter for your chance to win. Do this now. While you're down there, if you want to help support the channel, the content I create, and the things I do, check out some of the links in the video description. Their affiliate links don't cost you anything extra, go a long way in supporting the channel. Others, like Gamer Subs, use code Canuck, save 10% off your order. If you want to buy some 3D glue, that's how I glued all this stuff together. Use code Canuck to save 15% off your order, I believe. Or if you just want to be really cool, just become a channel member. Best way to support the channel, become a channel member. But if you're the coolest, you gift memberships to others. That's really cool. Okay, so I need these pieces. I think these are the pieces we're going to work on next. Because these are the arms and stuff fell over. All these multicolor ones, by the way, were printed on the bamboo in filament rollover mode. How to use glue when printing with PETG. My go-to method for gluing PETG apart or together, like for example, this helmet is all CFPETG. Obviously, it's painted and handworked and everything. This, if you look on the inside, you can see a bit of it there. It's hard to see. Essentially, what I do is I use super glue. I use the Gorilla Glue gel-based super glue to glue it together. But I don't like glue it together permanently. I just basically put a few spots and I put it all together enough that I can make sure everything fits, because you have to make sure everything lines up. If it doesn't line up, you run into issues. So you want to put it together in a way that if you screwed up, you can kind of go back and undo it. Hot glue also works really good for this. And then once it's together, I use like cheap 2-part epoxy and this stuff. This is fiberglass mesh you use for drywall on drywall seams or patches. I use this because it's cheaper than the actual like fiberglass, and it's a 3D printed part. Works good enough. So I use this. I'll put 2 strips or 1 or 2 strips down over the joint, and then I cover it with 2-part epoxy on the inside. And then I'll put, if it's a big joint, like if the parts are warped or whatever, and they don't really butt up against each other, I will use, like, I'll put a piece of like painter's tape on the outside so that the glue can't drip through, and I'll just fill it with glue or something. Also, another thing you can use that I've been using more of lately is, instead of epoxy and super glue, gloop. But you need the right gloop for the plastic. If it's ABS, which this is all ABS here, you can use ABS gloop or acetone. I like gloop. I'm finding I like gloop more than just acetone on ABS because it's a little bit thicker. So with acetone, the parts pretty much have to touch. if there's a gap there, it doesn't really work that good. Yeah, you can like, you know, dissolve ABS in it and make a slurry. It's messy though. Gloop just kind of fills the void. I find I like Gloop better for that. And it sets quicker too. Like acetone sets pretty quick, but Gloop sets quick too. Dana Hunt gifted 5 community memberships. Cheers and appreciated. He's asking about, oh, bed adhesive. Oh! Where did I put it? Where did I put it? It's around somewhere. Vision Miner. Go get Vision Miner. I've got a bunch of stuff here. I got some stuff from Northprint 3D that works really good, but they're in Canada, eh? So yeah, for Americans. I also have some stuff Pantheon gave me with their machine. That stuff works really good. But literally all my beds on all my printers, my go-to setup is literally, I like using textured beds. I don't like smooth PI. I don't like the sticker-based PI. I like textured PI. My favorite is Prusa satin beds. I love that sateen finish. But I like a textured bed with just a thin coat of Vision Miner on it as like a seasoning. And that's about it. So what I'll do is I'll clean the bed really good. Soapy water, clean it off really good. Make sure it's like bone dry. Put it on the printer. And then I'll put Vision Miner on the bed. Use a little brush or whatever, make sure it coats the bed, just one coat. And then I'll turn the bed up to like 80 or 100 and let it sit for like half an hour. And then the bed's seasoned. That's the process I use on pretty much all my beds, and I've never had issues. So I don't like smooth PI because I find if you screw up and you get your Z offset a little too deep, it just bites and the bed's done. I've got a pile of beds in a closet downstairs that are just, I don't want to save them. Like there's just stuff stuck to them or chunks missing out of them. They're like, no, they're done. Textured PI I find is more forgiving when your first layer isn't perfect. Any satin plates 300 by 3? I think Fabrico makes them. I think you can get satin plates from Fabrico now. I believe they do satin plates now. CHOW. Where is the other one? You're over here. You're over here. Where are you? Actually, where did you go? Oh, no. Oh, here it is. For filling gaps, I normally use glazing putty, but I find I don't like using the glazing putty when I have an actual like seam, because when it dries, it cracks. This doesn't fill wide gaps. It gets very cracky. I have used Bondo, like the kind of Bondo you got to mix up with the hardener and whatnot. That works really good, but you have like 5 minutes to work with it before it gets too stiff and it becomes annoying. And the problem is if you're trying to like work on multiple pieces at once, you either have to make a bunch of small batches and it gets annoying, or you make a big batch and it dries too quick. So I've started using wood filler to fill the big gaps, and then I'll do a sanding and then I'll come back with Bondo on top. But anytime you're working with this stuff, you should wear a mask, but I'm not going to because I'm on camera and my lungs are already destroyed. So I'm just gonna YOLO it. But you should wear a mask, well ventilated areas, and at least wear gloves. Bamboo texture. Yeah, but the bamboo beds are only 250 or 180. Like I have Big Tree Tech's 250, like what are they, bite beds or whatever, the blue beds. I got 2 of the Big Tree Tech ones, but they're bamboo sized. Canada will become the 51st state when the UK becomes a yeah, Canada will never join the US. I know it's kind of, put it this way, it was a meme for a bit, but now it's past the point of being a meme and it's like literally kind of sad. Like we already kind of look down south at like the kooky neighbor in the downstairs apartment. That's a little weird, but things are getting sad and it's getting disturbing. So we're all kind of like, you know when you got that one uncle that starts making jokes and at first everyone's like ha 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 ha, but then they keep making the jokes and everyone just kind of goes like yeah, that's what the rest of the world is doing right now. And it has huge issues. Well, we're a big country. Big countries, big issues. But yeah, you ready? Name a country that doesn't have issues. All countries have issues. Except for like, I don't know, Iceland. Iceland's pretty chill. So yeah, so today we're just gonna kind of work on a bunch of random stuff. Yap, chat. If you guys want me to go over something, bring up a topic and we'll do a tangent or whatever. But it's just gonna be a fun little stream today. Got some extra support. This filament was not nice to this printer. Like, look at that. Like, this was support that broke off. No, focus. Focus. There you go. This was support. So this printed like this. You can see that. But like, ew. That's gonna be fun to fill and fix. We just okay with Alberta. We like oil. See, this is how I know you don't know. Alberta oil sucks. Alberta oil is only worth it when oil's like over $100 a barrel because it's oil sand oil. It's like the worst grade of oil and it's like the most expensive to get and it's horrible to get. You have to basically dig it up. Oil sand oil is horrible. It's the worst kind. Also, for the Americans, you guys are a net energy exporter. You make more oil than you import. Like, you make all you need. The reason you import it is because it's cheaper in some layers. Like California, the reason California is expensive for gas is because they have to import it because there is no distribution network to get oil over the Rockies. And like this, or the mountains there or whatever. So they basically are an island in terms of like supply chain. So it's easier to import oil there than it is to ship your own oil over the freaking stuff. Yeah, logistics. Oh yeah, and limited refinery. Yeah, refineries are, that's like the problem in Canada. Why do we gotta buy our own gas? Because we don't have the refineries. Our population is too spread out to justify the amount of refineries we would need. So it's just easier to sell the raw oil to the US, they refine it, and then we buy back the refined outcome, because it literally makes more sense that way. Yeah, we don't even have the right refineries. Like, it's one of those things that, you know, it makes a good PR political statement, but the moment you actually start looking into it, you go, wait a minute. Wait. No, there's a reason we do it this way. Where is my spatula? I need a spatula. Where'd I put you? Is it over here? No, it's not over here. I don't want to use this guy because this is my good spatula. And Minnesota should join. We'll take Minnesota. Minnesota's pretty cool. Your governor seems like a pretty funny guy. I liked him. He seemed like a pretty okay guy. I know some Canadians are happy about. I don't even know what's going on with Keystone. That is like, doesn't affect. I'm down at, literally, if you look at a map of Canada and you go as far south as you can go, when you run out of Canada, that's where I live. All the blue states of Canada. Here's the thing. We had a good thing going. You know, okay, I never watched Breaking Bad. I tried watching Breaking Bad. I got like midway through the second season and then I just kind of stopped. It's not a show for me. I didn't have fun watching. I know it's a great show, but it's not like, I don't find it enjoyable to watch those kind of shows. So anyways, you know the part where the one guy's like, you could have had it all. We had it all. All you had to do was play the game, but you couldn't, and blah, blah, blah. And you know, when Buddy's like chirping out Walter near the end, I've seen that scene. Okay. That's basically Canada-US relations. It's like, we have a bunch of resources. You guys have money. We provide you resources. You give us money. It's a nice trade agreement. It works great. We had a system going here. It was working great. And you had to go and ruin it. The UP? UP could come to Canada. We'll take the UP. We'll take Michigan. We'll take the UP. I heard Mackinac Island's pretty nice. Walter. Just remember, Wolverines are native to Canada, and we did contribute a lot to the book called the Geneva Convention. So, yeah. Very nice book. Very nice book. I'm gonna do a bunch of like filling first, then we're gonna move on to some sanding. So I got the music going, grab a drink, put me on your second monitor. I'm just gonna be chatting with chat. We're gonna have a good time. I'm gonna do some working on some stuff. And that's the night. It's Saturday night. We're supposed to get a ton of snow tomorrow. And then like Monday and Tuesday, it's supposed to be like -20 apparently, Celsius. So like, I just want to chill tonight. I was gonna literally mix these two streams. I was gonna do the LDO or the build yesterday, and do what we're doing today yesterday, and today was gonna be the V2 build. And then it's like, oh no, sorry. -23 on Tuesday and Wednesday. It's currently -5, Sunday snow -8, Monday snow high of -14 Celsius, -21, high of -16. That's not too bad. Just remember, I'm south of Detroit. -32 right now. Is that Fahrenheit or Celsius? It's funny. I know pool temperature in Fahrenheit, but air temperature I use Celsius. And I cook in Fahrenheit. But that's, you know, Southern Ontario for you. What measurement system do you use? Yes. It doesn't help we're like literally, we are south of Detroit where I'm at. So like I grew up watching American TV on bunny ears. Shout out to Mr. Allen's 29 2 for 50. But it's funny, you go a couple hours north, everything's metric. But down here, it's a bit of both. There's gonna be like one guy in my audience who's like, yeah, Mr. Allen's. I'm gonna go buy my Kia at Summit Place Kia, because you should be buying a Kia. Wow, the layer lines on this one are horrible. This is one of the reasons I stopped using the Bambu, by the way. Big ABS parts like this, I was having constant warp issues because that machine doesn't keep the chamber hot enough to actually print ABS, like large homogeneous ABS parts like this. I did not have good luck on that machine because the chamber just did not get hot enough. It just couldn't get hot enough consistently enough and then keep the temperature. So it would just start, everything would start kind of warping on me. Yep, putty and paint makes you the 3D printer you ain't. That's a good one. I'm gonna borrow that meme, good sir. Oh, speaking of good sir, speaking of good meme, I think it was Joshua from where is it? Where I shared it with somebody. I think I put it on my Discord. They sent me. I guess he did a talk at like some hacker convention a while ago, and he sent me 2 slides, and I'm gonna add this to the video. We're gonna add this to the video that I recorded earlier, if I remember. But so just to break it down, this is how you make a bad 3D printer. For those that don't know, okay? So first things first, you make the bed leveling finicky. Make bed leveling impossible, so either the mechanically it can't do it or it's just a bad system to do it. You have bad defaults, so the machine ships with like bad profiles and whatnot, and settings and extruder settings and software settings and firmware settings. Bad overall quality control, high creality. You have many revisions with different bugs. So like you have the Ender 3, Neo, XX, Y, Z, Beta 2, Delta, Echo, Foxtrot, version 2. Mandatory mods. Nothing's worse than getting a printer and then immediately having to mod it to make it work. An unreasonably slow motion system. That doesn't really happen too much anymore, but it's still a thing. You ship garbage firmware that requires replacement. That was a thing for the longest time with Marlin. And even right now with Clipper, you're having to unlock Clipper to get full features out of these machines. Out of the box experience take double-digit hours, so just really bad setup and initial configuration, and print reliability requires babysitting for every print job. And now we can add to the list, thanks to current events, removing features and locking down the ecosystem so that taking control out of the users is something we're going to have to add to this list. Now, this is the list of how to make a bad 3D printer. How do you make a good 3D printer? Well, it's quite simple. You do not make a bad 3D printer. It's that easy. You take the previous list, you take the previous list of things not to do, and you just don't do them, and then you have a good 3D printer. Easy peasy. Now I'm gonna have to go in the edit and find that, and find a spot to put it into my initial spiel there. Are you aware the Mic 6 bed's available for the SV06? Nope. I don't have an SV06 anymore. I gave mine away. I gave my SV06 and my SV06 Max away. I personally didn't have really any issues with the SV06. Outside of my initial testing, I did the live stream unboxing. I did print on it a bunch just to make sure it did work fine. I never did a review video on it because I don't like doing review videos, but I thought it was a fine printer. The problem is, I know a lot of people bought it based off my recommendation of it. And I had a lot of feedback from people that like, yeah, I bought it like 8 months after it came out and it wasn't as good. So I don't know if Creality has bad quality control, or Creality, Saval just kind of lost some quality control stuff down the line. Or one thing I'm concerned about is with the parts being injection molded. If the parts are glass-filled plastic, like glass-filled polypro or polycarbonate or whatever, which I believe they were because they do it for rigidity, the problem is that stuff destroys molds. It eats away the metal. It's very abrasive. Even in injection mold, it eats away the metal, right? Kind of like a nozzle. You need a hardened nozzle to print abrasive materials. The problem is, and I know this from personal experience as a tool and mold maker who worked in the industry for 7 years, a lot of the steel Chinese molds used is not the best quality. So what happens is the initial production runs are good and the parts come out good. But as you keep running parts and the molds start getting away by the abrasive material, the molds start becoming sloppier and sloppier and the holes become looser and looser and tolerances start going. That is something that can happen. Now, I'm not saying that's what happened. I'm just saying that it's something that can happen. That's one of the things that's one of those things with injection molded parts you kind of have to keep in mind. You do have to do maintenance on molds after a certain number of shots. And I can see a lot of companies just not bothering with that, especially if they're using really cheap molds, because over in China, what they do a lot of the time is they'll have shoes. So the main body of the mold will be a reusable component, and then you just change the inserts to make the part. A lot of those times, especially on low production runs, those inserts are made out of something like aluminum. And if they're aluminum and they're running abrasive through it, those are gonna get destroyed quick. So it's better to buy normally it's not good to buy the first production run of stuff, but in that case, you might be better off buying the first production run of stuff because those molds are gonna get eaten up real quick. And that is something not a lot of people realize. There's a lot of stuff that unless you work in adjacent industries, you don't really know is even a thing. I don't know anything about software. And when I watch people go through software stuff, I'm like, I did not know it worked that way. Same with Linux. There's a lot of things I don't know, but the stuff I do know, it's like Elon Musk. Everyone thinks Elon Musk is smart until he talks about something you're actually smart in yourself. And then you go, wait a minute. A lot of Chinese molds are aluminum. Yep. A lot of them are aluminum or just low quality steel. The amount of molds that I had to do repairs on, because the company I worked for, by the end, we were bought out by a foreign investment firm, Americans. And everything kind of went to shit at the company, and they started cutting corners. So instead of us doing a lot of stuff in-house, we started outsourcing to China. And the worst part is we actually found really good Chinese suppliers that made great stuff at a very reasonable cost, and we actually liked them, but they weren't cheap enough. So at first we were going to the Chinese companies that Home Depot went to, and then we went to the Chinese companies the dollar store goes to. That's the equivalent. Think of it that way. And the amount of molds that I had to rebuild, because the mold would come in and we'd immediately have to take it apart and replace half the tool because it just was nowhere near up to the standards we needed. Was quite surprising and very sad to see. It's like, you know, this mold would have shipped by now if we had gone with the original supplier we used for these parts, but instead we had to do it all ourselves and rebuild it. Well, yeah, we still saved time, but not money. Or we saved money, but not time. And time is money, friend. So now, instead of me working on this other tool, I have to work on fixing this tool. It do be what it is, though. Get what you pay for. Yep. You get what you pay for. It's hard to compete when... And, like, I understand it. We were able to buy fully completed plates. So we're talking a plate of steel. P22 steel, 4 inches thick by 4 feet long by 8 feet long, with 100-something holes in it and slots milled in and everything, top and bottom plates for molds. We could buy those plates fully machined, fully blanch ground, ready to go, shipped to Canada from China, cheaper than we could buy the raw steel in Canada. Well, buy the raw steel from the States, because we got our metals from the States. And I asked one of the project managers, I'm like, how are they able to do this cheap? And the answer I got was simply, they sell it at whatever price they need to get the sale, and then they just get topped up by the rest. How do you compete with that? Now, that's what I was told, and this was 5 years ago, so I have no idea how legit that info is, but that's what I was told from the project manager, was basically, they will charge whatever they need to charge to get the sale, and then whatever they need to make up the difference, they just get topped up. Now, is that something that one shop work was topping up from a parent company? Was it a government? Who knows? But that's what I was told. And it kind of made a lot of sense. And here's the thing. I can't be angry at them, because, you know, American companies would do it if they could too. It's all capitalism, baby. Use what you can do. Use the tools and the resources you've got. You know how greedy you know how greedy all companies are. They would all be doing it if they could. So you can't fault somebody for taking advantage of the rule of the system. I'm sorry, sir, I was unfamiliar with your game. How much the U.S. market is subsidized? Yeah, well, like farmers and whatnot, that's all subsidized and whatnot. It is what it is. You guys have bunkers of cheese in case the cheese wars ever happen, right? The Minnesota cheese bunkers or whatever they are. I watched that Windigoon video. Actually, I gotta watch Unsubscribe today because I think Oompa and Windigoon were on it. Work for a company that puts made in my hometown. Ooh, they're Missouri. They're Missouri. Cheese is important. Cheese is important. It's a national. It's a resource. For those that don't know, dairy farmers are subsidized, and the problem is they make way more milk than the actual U.S. consumes, and milk goes bad relatively quick. So they basically sell their milk to the government, who turns it into cheese, and then they just store it and then they sell it off occasionally. So it's a thing. I mean, here's the thing. There's way more than enough money and resources to go around. We don't need to be as greedy as we are. Companies do not need to be as greedy as they are. There's, you know, we are this close to the what's it called? what's it called? Like the Star Trek future, where basically we have enough resources for everyone. What's it called? I can't remember what that state is called. Shoot, somebody's gonna say it in chat here. But there's like a certain state you reach in a society where post-scarcity, that's what it is, post-scarcity society. Like, think about it. In North America, we throw out more food than we eat, right? So much stuff goes to waste. People don't need to be going hungry. We're throwing food out. We have enough resources. The problem is companies just don't want to sell them for the cost that, you know, you got to make enough profit for it to be worth it. And that's the problem. And you have more profits every year. Frickin' Reagan. Frickin' Reagan. We had a nice system going here. And then you had to go and screw it all up. You had it all. Yeah, US medication for, yeah. Like, just remember, end of the day, a rising tide raises all ships. You have less crime when nobody is hungry. You have less crime when everyone is educated. You have less crime when people's mental health is taken care of. It's everyone does better when everyone does better. And never get angry at somebody for wanting to have a better life. Insulin was more expensive than printer ink. That's sad, because the guys who invented insulin, which I'm pretty sure were Canadian if I'm not mistaken, they like gave it away for free. They didn't bother patenting it, they gave it away for free. Like, you have less crime when it's cold outside. Is that why they moved the inauguration into inside? It's too cold for the crimes outside? That's a good one. Somebody should. If I tweeted that, that would get popular. And then Elon Musk would shadow ban me. I made a grave mistake the other day. I was watching the Falcon. I watched the Starship launch. I watched the Starship launch, okay? And then it blew up, which happens. It's a test launch. Shit happens. They caught the booster. That was really bloody cool, let's be honest. But then Elon tweeted one of his tweets. You know what I'm talking about. And I just replied, I'm like, dude, you just blew up a skyscraper over, you just like blew up a skyscraper in space. Shouldn't you be working right now? Like, I just, you know, I know he'll never see it, but I replied, oh my God, over the next day, I got so many bot followers on my Twitter account. It was like, I gained like 150 followers that day, all of them bots. So never reply to Elon. You'll just get flooded with bot accounts. Oh, this did not clean up good. Where did I put my kniff? Kniff? I had my kniff. Where did I put it? Is it under all this? No. Did I put it in the drawer? No. I gotta... It's the Jerry Rig Everything knife, and it's clear. So I put it down. I swear, sometimes I'm like a 2-year-old. I have object permanence. It's like, where'd I put it? Any major? No, Adrian Dittman is not Elon Musk. Adrian Dittman is just somebody who's really obsessed with Elon Musk. Like, somebody found him out, like found his like social media and whatnot going back years. Like, he is actually a separate human being. He's just really obsessed with Elon Musk, and that's kind of sad. Like, I've actually met several people over the years who have met him and talked to Elon Musk. And Pigeon CEO is the best way to describe it. Flies in, shits everywhere, and leaves. For those that don't know what I'm referencing, where is it? In this drawer? Yeah, it's in this drawer. Okay. Well, toolbox from work. So, just for reference, so I can, you know, provide deets. I've built tooling for SpaceX, okay? If you have the rectangle Starlink terminal, not the newest one, but like the first generation of rectangle Starlink terminals, I built the mold that makes that shell. So there's the job plaque for it. So anyways, so our project managers had to sit in with meetings with the SpaceX people, and every now and then Elon Musk would pop into the meeting. And it was just like everyone would just nod, agree to everything he said, and then when he left, they would just be like, anyways, going back to what we were talking about. Because he would like show up and be like, yeah, we need this mold done today. Like we need it producing parts tomorrow. And everyone's like, it's like 2 weeks out. Well, we need it done now. And it's like, okay. And then he leaves. It's like, okay, so in 2 weeks when we do tryout. It's like, and I've built tools for Tesla. Like if you have the first gen Model 3, the facelifted Model S, the Model X, the original Model X, I built the tool that made your front fascia, your bumpers essentially. The 80,000 to 100,000 pound injection mold, I built that. By built, I was one of the guys on the team who put it together. I didn't design it, I didn't engineer it, I was a wrench monkey on the floor, but I was the guy who one of the guys that put them together and took them apart and put them together and tested them and fixed them and whatnot. So I have done stuff for all the big three automotive, Japanese automotive. I've done tooling for a lot of them. Working with Tesla was the worst company I've ever had to deal with, because a bunch of hardware computer nerds in a field that they have no experience in, expecting things that are mechanical to work like software doesn't work. Unrealistic timetables, unrealistic expectations of how things work is just like, they got better over time, but the early days were a mess working with them. Come in for a tryout would be done. They'd be like, okay, fix these things. And then we go and fix the things, and we do another tryout a month later, and they're like, okay, now fix these things. And it's like, why didn't you tell us that originally? Well, because they weren't our concern at the time, but now they are our concern. It's like, did you know about them? Well, yeah, but they weren't on the priority list, so now they are, so fix them. And it's like, you could have told this all at once, and we could have done it all at once. Now we have to take the whole tool apart again and do these changes. But you can do them. That's not the point. Tell us everything that needs to be done so we can do them all at once. You're ruining our workflow for the sake of your workflow, and your workflow sucks. We had an employee who actually got poached by Tesla. So he helped them out a lot during the initial Model X run. And he got poached by Tesla. So Tesla's like, hey, come work for us at our plant down in California as a maintenance guy in the mold department, because you're really good at working on molds. And, you know, he jumped on it. Can't blame him at the time. This is back when Musk was Iron Man, right? This is back when, you know, Elon Musk, everyone's like, oh, he's Tony Stark. Everyone loved him. I think he lasted a year before he left that place. And he's like, no, never, don't. They don't know what they're doing. It's a complete gong show. Stuff changes all the time. It's not worth it. He ended up getting a job for like GM or something, and it's fine. Like a traditional automotive company. He's like, yeah, much better. So needless to say, I will never buy a Tesla. I do love SpaceX though. Not gonna lie, rockets are cool. More rockets, better. Rockets are cool. I'm sorry. Watching a 22-story freaking rocket land and get caught by a tower, shit's cool, man. Plus a lot of it's Gwen Shotwell, and the talented engineers that make that stuff happen. And this isn't like, here's the thing, you can critique him on all this stuff. I haven't even touched about his political stuff. I haven't touched about, you know, the diamond mines or whatever the hell it was. I don't even care about that stuff. Well, I do care, but like, I can critique him on valid things without having to even touch that stuff. Somebody said a very good quote, and I agree with it. He is rich in, so many people are rich in money and nothing else. and it's very sad. So many people are rich in money, and it's very sad. James Bond villains were cool. Instead, we got like Zack Snyder, freaking what's his name, Lex Luthor, as our villain, and that's not cool. We got like Bezos and those guys. It's like, I thought rich evil villains were supposed to be cool instead of like what nerds think cool people are. It's like, come on. People in society. He's here's the thing. I don't want to comment on that because I don't know what he has. I think he said he had autism or something. So it's like, okay, if he's on the spectrum, like, okay, like, I'm not going to critique you for that. I'm not going to critique you for something you have no control over. Okay, like, that's one of those things I firmly believe in. It's like back in the day when people, you know, Naomi Wu, I hope she's doing well. For those that don't know, she was an active member of the 3D printing and open source community. And a lot of people critiqued her on stuff because of her looks. She chooses to look a certain way, right? And don't. Yeah, you can critique her on her opinions, on like her stances on stuff, that's fine. But do not critique people on how they are themselves, right? If they have no control over it, and if it's who they are, that's not a valid critique of somebody. That's not valid. Find an actual tangible thing that you can critique somebody on. Don't go for like, if it works as a grade school insult, do better. He's self-diagnosed. I'm sure he's actually medically diagnosed. I'm sure. To get, okay. He has security clearances. He falls under ITAR. To get that stuff, you have to prove a bunch of stuff. Like, okay, I had a background check when I was in the Army at one point, because I worked on a base for a bit. As part of that background check, they check to see if you have any debt. Like, they check so much stuff just to make sure you're okay. Like, debt is a massive thing. You don't want anyone with secrets to have debt, because if you have debt, you can be swayed. It is very easy to go, oh, you got debt, you owe people money. Well, if you go into work tomorrow and you sneak out a laptop for me, that debt will go away. You'd be surprised how many people will betray their country for 50 grand. You would be surprised. I mean, people are going on Redbook or Red Note or whatever the heck it's called, and just like, here you go, for free, just because they're pissed at the government. Software is looking to get authorization for keys to Orca. Pretty much said no. Yep, I did a whole thing at the beginning of the stream, and I'm actually going to clip it and edit it into a video after the stream ends today, and put it out on the channel tomorrow. So I'm gonna do like a little talk on Bambu. For 50 cents. I honestly, okay. I don't like Trump. Personally, I don't even think Kamala ran a great campaign. I think the Democrats really need to I like Bernie, put it that way. I like Bernie, okay? I think both parties need to completely reinvigorate themselves and bring in new blood. I'm not liking the fact how many people I see voting that are in wheelchairs and are way past the retirement age. The whole system needs a reboot, in my opinion. We need to get younger blood in, get younger thoughts in, that kind of thing. But anyways, long story short, you know The Simpsons, when Mr. Burns goes to the Mayo Clinic and it turns out he has every disease known to man, but they're all trying to get through the door at the same time, so he's basically invincible. That's like incompetency, in my opinion. I think it'll be bad, but I don't think it'll be as bad as some people think, because like, there's too much The world is too tight. I'm hoping here. I think the world is too connected, and too many people have a stake in things kind of staying the way they are to let things get too cuckoo. And I think a lot of this is just pomp and circumstance just to get headlines. Like the whole invading Canada thing in Greenland. Guess what? While people are talking about that, they're not talking about his appointees to different departments. It's all a show. A lot of it is a show, I think. A lot of it is a show just to kind of mask the stuff. Because at the end of the day, I'm a firm believer the world is not as complicated as people think. We just have a bunch of rich people just trying to keep their wealth and get power. That's what it is every election. It's just rich people trying to get richer and people in power trying to get more power. It doesn't matter what side. It's all the same. And until that system changes, it's always going to be that way. Democrats get in, companies start doing left-leaning stuff. Republicans get in, companies start doing right-leaning stuff. They just do whatever they got to do to make their buck at the end of the day. And until the system changes, which I hope it does soon, because we are pretty close to a post-scarcity society. I like to hope we get to that Star Trek future where everyone just has the basics to survive and they don't have to worry about anything and they're free to pursue whatever they want. That'd be very nice. I hope for the best. Hope we can be better. Not that complicated. Very simple. Is it time I get a drink? I think it's time I get a drink. I know I said I wouldn't talk politics on the channel, but you guys keep bringing it up. That's the problem with doing a live show, is it's live. So if you guys talk about something, I will talk about it because you are the guest. Whenever you do a live show, you're never alone. The audience is the second person in the room with you. So it's like if you get me going and you keep replying, we keep going down that path. So speaking of money, you want to help support the channel, the content I'm creating, the things I do, consider becoming a channel member, a Patreon supporter, or if you're really cool, gifting memberships to others, or hey, if you're thirsty, go buy some gamer subs. I got a bunch of new flavors now, and it's pretty good. I'm drinking Bowberry right now. It's actually really good. I'm not saying, since I partnered with gamer subs, the amount of VTubers I get in my feed now on social media has increased. But it has increased. I don't even really watch VTubers. Andrew Rogers, $10 for the Boozle Hall Fund. Can I run my car on that? Okay, how much of this is... Oh, there's some in there. Okay. Isn't that like a thing from The Simpsons? Homer runs his car on alcohol. Yeah, because he's like, one for you, one for me, one for you, one for me. What's a VTuber? Basically, TLDR, it's a streamer, but instead of showing their face, they use an avatar. Simple as that. Actually, I did meet Bao. Actually, now that I remember it, I did meet Bao the Whale at Open Sauce. I think I said hi to her. I don't think we actually talked, but I did get a, oh, hi. And she's like, I'm Bao the Whale or whatever I beat you. I'm like, okay, cool. So I think I did actually talk to her. And now I'm drinking her juice. That sounded worse than in my head. Virtual YouTuber. Yeah. Which makes a lot of sense. Like, here's the thing. If you want to stream and you don't want to show your face, which I fully understand for a lot of women. I fully understand why a lot of women don't want to show their face on the internet. The internet is a scary, dangerous place and people are creepy. I fully understand why so many of them do it. Why it's a thing. Because you get to stream. Streaming is fun. I have a lot of fun doing this. And you get to avoid a lot of the, unfortunately, the creepiness that affects them. Because, hell, I get weird, creepy comments from people sometimes. The amount of people I've had to block from my YouTube channel over the years for being creepy is... You'd be surprised. There's a reason my little guy doesn't come on camera much anymore. You'd be surprised the shit that happens, or people say. So, like, gorillas. Exactly! Gorillas needs to do more. Has there been a new Gorilla album lately? Just remember, Gorillaz is the guy from Song 2 from Blur. Dan Arbin, I believe his name is. That's one of the bands I would love to see live is Gorillaz. I have never been to a concert, ever. I've never been to a concert. I was hoping one day to go see Daft Punk. Need to be on Jimmy Fallon. I do not have enough internet cred to go on Jimmy Fallon. I do not have enough internet cred to go on Jimmy Fallon. I consider myself a D- tier internet celebrity. It's like, if you are in this one specific niche, you may know me. Beyond that, I've had one person ever come up to me in person at a not 3D printing event and go, "Hey, Nero 3D." And I was at the mall with my family and I was like, "Hi." And one guy who is local to me that I borrowed a printer from once, who I ran into at Walmart. So I had met him previously. But outside of 3D printing events, only one person has ever come up to me. Open Source, barely anyone knew who I was. And that's a pretty nerdy place. So just to show you, again, D- tier internet celebrity. Hopefully by the end of the year, we make it to a D. I mean, D's still a pass. I'll take it. Classic media has none. You would be surprised. Linus talked about it on the WAN show. He's like, yeah, traditional media, it doesn't have the same views, but in a lot of aspects, a view online does not count as much as a view on real life, like a view on traditional media. Like, will going on the Tonight Show, or whatever Jimmy Fallon show is called, boost your career? Probably not. But it looks better on a resume than, like, I was on Talk Tua. Like, it doesn't scale the same way. They are different mediums. And like, it's like now views don't even matter anymore. Like, view count is so hard to judge metrics on nowadays because it's so overinflated by like short content and bots and like whatnot. It's like Beast Games. Beast Games, Mr. Beast is all like, oh, we got 50 million views on Beast Games on Amazon. And then it comes out that like Amazon counts that if you watched any segment of any one of the episodes for any length of time, including the preview, it counts as a view. So if you like were scrolling through like the episode, like the shows on Amazon, and you clicked on Beast Games and it started playing like the preview thing, and then you clicked off of it, it counted it as a view. So it's like you got 50 million views on Beast Game, the most expensive, largest game show ever. And his normal videos do 50 million views. And those don't cost as much. Also, Beast Games is boring as crap. I'm sorry, it's a horrible show. It's a horrible show. Jimmy cannot come up with a good game. The games suck. Half the games in the first few episodes are just go home. Somebody go home, or we'll send you home. View used to mean something in theory, now it's interchangeable with impression. Yeah, oh yeah. You don't want to know how I measure the success of my YouTube channel? Yeah, don't get me wrong, I like when a video does good and I get high view count. But like when I'm streaming right now, I don't even have my view count up. I have 225 people now. Okay, cool. Hi everyone. Like the smash button if you haven't yet. You know how I judge my video does good? I don't. At the end of the month, did I make enough money to pay my bills and have a little left over? Yeah, okay, good. That's my metric. Am I making enough to keep doing this? Yeah, okay, good. That's how I judge success on my channel. That's it. I don't care. Like, I do care about view count. I do care about sub count. I would like to have a plaque one day. But like, I went full-time YouTube at 30,000 subs. And we're at 65 now or something? I don't know. I didn't even look. Like, I know I look because it's there on the front of the page every time I load up the creator window, but it's like, I don't, it is what it is. You have fun doing what you're doing? Does it cover your expenses? Yep, okay. Keep on trucking. Plus it helps I'm a single man operation and I don't have like 5 editors like some channels have. So my expenses are a lot less. So that helps quite a bit. You'd be surprised. I've talked to a few channels that are like, they have like, we're in the same kind of like, we'd fall in the same category in terms of like view count and whatnot. It's like they have editors, they have, you know, much more expensive equipment and whatnot. And it's like, that sucks because then you get in the every video has to make money. You can't just do a video for fun. It's like everything has to make money and I have to make more money every time I do it. And it's like, ow. I just want to have fun making YouTube videos and pay my mortgage. That's it. I don't even want to go full-time YouTube at first. One day I'll explain that story, but that's not happening. Not tonight. Maybe on the 5-year stream. The trap of growth. You can't have infinite growth. That's the thing. Infinite growth does not exist in a closed system. You're in a closed system. There is no such thing as infinite growth. It does not exist. And if you rely on infinite growth to succeed, you will fail. You will burn out. You will get obsessed with looking at metrics and you won't have any fun. You will not enjoy your life. And then you become like a CEO who gets, you know, claims they're good at Path of Exile. Have we tried tapping this? Capitalist? I'm a capitalist. I believe you should be able to, you know, of your own accord with your own skills. If you can do good, do good. But I also believe there should be the base in a system like that, where there is the potential for people to be a potential trillionaire in my lifetime. I believe the floor should be raised. I believe the starting point should be elevated. Like, does insert random company here need to have 200 million a year in profit for shareholders? No. They could have had $1 profit, because that's profit. Profits after expenses are done. So that means after all their employees were paid, all their bills were paid, and everything, profit is just extra on top. So put that profit in back into the system so that people are better educated, people have better housing, people have better services, nobody goes hungry. That would be nice. Pay your taxes. I have no problem paying taxes as long as I get something in return. It's when the system doesn't work that way, or money gets held up by people who avoid paying taxes, then I don't like the system. But it is what it is. It is what it is. It's like the, what are the people that like believe they don't have to, not Freemasons, the sovereign citizens. I watched a video where somebody was like pulling over, a cop was pulling over a sovereign citizen. And the cop just like exhaled the moment he like realized it was a sovereign citizen. And she's like, I'm traveling of my own accord, you can't stop me. And he's like, do you pay taxes? And she's like, I refuse to. And the cop's like, okay, you can't be on the road. What? The road is owned by these people that pay taxes. And since you don't pay taxes, You can't use the road. It's like, okay, well, am I allowed to go into your house? Well, no, it's my house. Well, this is the state of whatever state it was, Montana, whatever. This is the state of Montana's road. You can't be on their road unless you pay their taxes. You can go drive through that field over there, but I'd hit you with trespassing because that's a farmer's field. And the farmer wouldn't appreciate that. And then he basically just did it on purpose to get the sovereign citizen going in a loop. Eventually, he just, like, the brain broke. I'm just sitting there watching the video, and I'm just like... I had a coworker one day. I was talking with him, and he's like, I was like, oh, so, you know, how, you know, they had a kid recently and whatnot. And I was just kind of like, how's it all going? The guy was like a couple years younger than me, so at the time I was probably like, I want to say the guy was around 24, 25. He had a kid and whatnot, and he's like, yeah, they made me get the birth certificate, and I didn't really want to because I don't want her in the system yet. And I'm like, what do you mean in the system? Well, you know, like the government now owns her, like I'm owned by the government and like the taxes and whatnot. And I'm like, I started putting two and two together based off some other stuff he had said previously. I'm like, oh, okay. And I just kind of walked away. I'm like, I am not getting involved with that. I am, no, abort, get out of that conversation now. That's okay. I think he's in jail now. I just printed an articulated dragon for my daughter now. She loves 3D prints and watching the show with me. Nice! Those dragons are great. I got one right here. No. Oh, where'd I put it? I had it. Yeah, here we go. Yeah. These dragons are great. They're good for, what I found these are good for, they're good for like little sample spools. Just change the colors out, because then you get them all in cool different colors. They're great for, I got so many 3D printed fidget toys I printed for the little guy over the years. They're like, I find them throughout the house. They're like all over the place. Yeah, we moved past that. Yeah, again, I said it earlier. Reagan, look at the amount of debt the U.S. government has had over the years. It all went up under Reagan because for the longest time you paid your taxes and you got the system did its thing. But then at a certain point, they stopped taxing some people, rich people, and they kept spending more. And you can't spend more than you're bringing in forever. It doesn't work that way. And I think we're about to find the point where it breaks, which isn't good. I've seen so many memes after Jimmy Carter passed away of Jimmy Carter in hell going, where's Reagan? Give me Reagan. Where is that guy? Jimmy Carter, not the best president, but one of the better former presidents. From a peanut farm in Georgia. Yeah, that's the thing. Like, it's like the thing now with population. They keep telling us, you know, a worker produces more than ever, right? Like ROI, like more stuff gets made per person than ever. So why do we need to keep having more people? Like I see it online, like the whole, oh, people need to have more babies. We can't have the population decrease. It's like more things are automated and productive than ever. We don't need more people. I can't afford more people. We have one kid and that's it. Can't afford that. It's like, why are you free? Oh, wait, it's because you don't want, the rich and the companies don't want to pay the taxes. So the tax money has to come from the people now, instead of coming from the rich people and the companies like it used to. Ah, that's why we gotta have more people. We need more workers. Okay, I need to get some stuff that I've been sanding, because we're gonna do some sanding now. These guys. Having the government help people costs money, and Reagan was all about not taxing the rich. Yeah, you got to help your buddies out, right? Daycare. So they just brought in, it's funny, after the little guy stopped having to go to daycare, in Canada now it's like $10 a day daycare. The problem is all the daycares are overwhelmed and they can't get them set up. We can't get new daycare set up fast enough for the amount of people that are going to daycares now. So there's massive waiting list, because it is what it is. But now the government compensates daycare, so now daycare costs $10 a day for people, if you can get in. US corporations used to pay 40% of the total tax bill, now it's 10%. Yeah, they need to bring that back. I don't get why people, like, tax the rich. They're rich. They can afford it. I'm sorry. After a certain point, if you have $50 million in the bank and you need $100 million, something's broken. You don't become any happier after a certain point. Like, I remember reading a thing, after a certain point, and it's not that high. We're talking like a million. Like, it's not a high number. But at a certain point, you get massive diminishing returns on happiness at more money, right? So then it comes, why are they obsessed with collecting that much? Oh, it's a mental thing. Like, just I don't know. I just want everything to be, I want companies to make better printers. I want people to do better in life. Like, I just want everyone to have a good life. It's not that complicated. Just don't mess with me or my family. Give me the services that I paid for in my taxes, and ensure everyone's treated fairly. It's not that extreme of a lifestyle. So these are the thigh pieces. So the thing I got to figure out is how to attach these to my waist. Because the way I want to have this together is I want to put pants on that have like the thigh pieces in it, and then step into the boots. The boots are on the floor over there, but I'm not going to put them on here because everything's covered in dust right now. Again, you should be wearing a mask doing this and all that stuff, but yeah. I'm on camera, and I'm not going to wear a mask for the next 3 hours while talking. Normally when I'm out here working on this stuff, I do have a mask. Like, for those that are like, I have a respirator right here. I normally wear it when I'm doing this stuff, when I'm out here by myself. I'll just put on like a video, turn the speakers up, and do it with a mask. But I'm on camera and talking, and it gets kind of stuffy doing it. So also, I used to work at a mold shop with welding and machining and coolant and plastic fumes and oil residue. And then I was also in the Army for 6 years, and I also smoked for a decade. There's a lot of internal damage already done. I don't think a little bit of sanding is going to really add much to the pile. I got mesothelioma, the best thelioma. Build a filter cube. I have it in that printer, but the printer's broken. No more green cam. Yeah, I broke down and finally got the main camera from the basement studio and set it up as the overhead camera. So now we actually have a working overhead camera. The downside is later this week when we do a resin print unboxing, Elegoo sent me their Saturn 216K, I think it is. We're doing that in the basement downstairs. So I'm gonna have to take this down and set it back up over there, which is going to be a little annoying, but is what it is. But I do have, the paint booth does have filtration. I did build myself a little paint booth. So my paint booth has a fan. It's got a filter, so it sucks the air out of the paint booth and runs it through a filter. It doesn't exhaust outside because I can't really do that in my garage. The walls are brick, and I'm in Canada and it's cold as shit outside, so I can't just open the garage door. I would be a little cold in here. So. I would use my glasses as a guide. If they're getting covered in dust, I should probably put on a mask. Yeah, that's actually a good method. I'm not gonna lie. This I already hit with the palm sander, so I'm just like doing touch-ups kind of with the block sander because the palm sander leaves a bit of a rough finish. See you, Spice King. Bye, Spice King. Oop. Uh-oh. Are we okay? We're okay. I heard a crack. I'm like, They're 3D printing cosplay armor. Dude, I can't wait till this suit is done. I haven't done much on it in the past month. I got the boots are done, the helmet's done, because I've been working on the weaponry that's going with it. So I got the las pistol is done, and got a functioning light in it, and I got the Ripper to go with it. It's funny, it's power armor, it's T45 power armor on pull out. I'm kitting it out like Space Marine armor. And no, I'm not doing Space Marine armor. After this suit, I am not doing another full body suit like this for a long time. After this though, it's either going to be Imperial Guardsman armor from Warhammer, or I actually kind of want to do a Scout Star Wars Empire Scout Commando. I might do after this, because that is just a couple printed parts, a helmet, and the rest is like BDUs and whatnot. Like not a full head to toe 50 pounds of printed armor suit. I'm not doing that after this. Set up the armor. I'm not gonna lie. I have been keeping an eye out on Facebook Marketplace for a mannequin, because I do want to put the Mando guy. I do want to put the Mando suit on a mannequin in the basement somewhere. Just to have it, because it's a freaking Mando suit. So, Guardsman armor. Here's your flashlight and a prayer. Good luck. Remember, the Imperial Guardsman las rifle, it's a flashlight that does diddly. But when you have 20,000 guardsmen, that's a whole lot of diddly. Just print dummy 13 to scale. No. Actually, I feel bad for the dummy 13 guy. Apparently some Chinese company is trying to trademark it on him. And I'm not a fan of that. Come on, do your own work. I hate when people profit off the work of others without contributing anything back. Come on. Buddy put his work into that and you're just ripping him off. Print a mannequin. Printing a mannequin is actually quite a bit of work, and also, not gonna lie, a shit ton of plastic. Printing a mannequin is a lot of plastic, and I kind of just don't want to do that. Because then I cover it and stuff and you lose it. If anything, I'm going to build one out of PVC pipes. If I'm going to build a mannequin, I'm going to do it out of like PVC pipes or something. Yeah, I saw him talking about it on his Twitter, social media. I forgot to... Go. Okay, let that dry for a bit. Little Bondo spot and glaze putty. Ugh. My knees are falling apart. Oh. Ooh. Can you hear that? I don't know if you can hear my knees cracking. You know what time it is? You know what time it is? You know what time it is? It's time for me to see if I have any beer left. Do I have any beer? I have one burr left. I've got one beer. And shark. Island style lager. 4.6%. Cheers. Oh, that's good. Need to get a new piece here. You know what sucks? How expensive sandpaper is. Actually, everything. So I'm looking for a camera, right? Because, you know, I've had the issue with the overhead camera. So I'm like, I'll just buy a new camera. The Canadian dollar sucks right now so much. Cameras that I were looking at like this time last year have gone up like hundreds of dollars. Like I was looking at, I was like, okay, I'll just get a, I'm like, I'll just get a Sony, like a Sony A6400 or something, right? Stuff that was like $1,000 a year ago is like $1,400 now. The FX30 has gone up like $600. And I'm like, this sucks. This sucks. I don't like this. Canadian dollar sucks so much. Just buy a roll of paper store. Oh, public school TP. Yeah. Don't worry, Trump will save the world. Dude, I live in Canada. It's gonna get bad. My wife works for a company who's primary exporting to the US. It's gonna suck. On the bright side though, that means your donation to the channel, your subscriptions, your super chats, they're worth even more now because my dollar sucks so much. So $5 American, like I can almost pay off my mortgage if like 10 of you become channel members. It's amazing. Actually, it's great because the value of my mortgage stays the same. But YouTube pays in American. So like the Canadian dollar goes down in value, but like a 50,000 mortgage is still a 50,000 mortgage. So on the bright side, I've got that going for me, which is nice. It's not. It's scary. It's I mean, if we get like what, one Saudi oil prince pops up in chat and like donates his lunch money, I could retire. Tate McSwayze. Yeah, that'll never happen. It's literally just a distraction. Because again, I've said this before. It'd be like adding another California to the US in terms of voting power, and Canada leans left. So like Republicans would never allow that. It's like they won't even allow DC or Puerto Rico to become a state because of that. They know they would lose votes, which is sad. The whole taxation without representation thing. Even I'm not even American, I know that's a thing, and they're getting taxed and they're not getting properly represented. It's a bullshit. They deserve to be states. $2 part. It's because shipping in Canada sucks, Drew. That's why. Shipping in Canada is horrible. That's okay. Remember, at the end of the day, I can always ask them, why is the White House called the White House again? Can you refresh my memory why it's called the White House? I have an inkling I remember why it's called the White House, but can you double check that for me? It's like the one gotcha we got. The one gotcha. To be fair, Steve, we didn't burn it down. The British burned it down. At the time, though, Canada was part of England, or the British Empire. But yes, it's called the White House because it's made out of stone, and they had to whitewash it, therefore painting it white, after the British raided DC and burned it down during the War of 1812. That was actually one of the funner things I did. When I was in the Army in 2012, the government gave like every unit like a pile of money to go do like War of 1812 educational stuff. So we got to spend a weekend in Niagara Falls going to all the old 1812 battle sites, which are surprising how many like War of 1812 sites like where battles took place were like, these were battles that just like some guy's field, or this is now a McDonald's parking lot, and there's like, yeah, like 20 guys died over there, and you're looking at like a post office. And I was like, well, that's cool. It's a pretty good history. That was actually a really fun educational weekend. I love that shit. Yeah, one of the towns near me is named for Tecumseh. I mean, I'm right across from Detroit. There's a whole bunch of 1812 stuff around here. I'm hoping to get these two done, and then I'll put a coat of paint on them. What I like doing is I use primer and filler to get it to a certain point, and then I spray it with like really cheap metallic spray paint. That does two things. One, it highlights all the defects, so I can go in and do like the little bit of touch-up work at the end. And then also, I only need to do one coat of the final metallic paint, which saves me money, because I can buy cheap metallic paint for like $12 a can, whereas the final coat of paint I use, the Rust-Oleum stuff, is like $30 a can, because Canada sucks. Our dollar is shit, and everything's stupidly expensive up here. Please help me. It's getting bad. You know how you guys have the dollar menu? Yeah, for us, it's $5. Tecumseh, didn't they make a lawnmower engine? Maybe? I know at one point we tried to make a fighter jet. Arrow. Which so many people misconstrued why it was canceled, but anyways. They secretly added an S. The dollar. No, I'm sorry, this is the No Homers Club. We're allowed to have one. You might have to touch that up. The arrow. So who here doesn't know the story of the arrow? Who doesn't know the story of the Avro arrow? And do you want me to tell you the story of the Avro arrow? Or at least my interpretation of the story of the Avro arrow and the very common misconception I believe about it. We all have covered tonight. 3D printing, cosplay, politics, and now we're talking military history. From the news, I heard Avro died when the Prime Minister got pissed at the British guy who ran Avro. Okay, so Avro is a British company. Like they made bombers and whatnot in World War II, but they had a Canadian division, Avro Canada. Okay, they made some cool stuff. The Avro car, which was a flying saucer, but what everyone knows them for is the Avro Arrow. It was a Mach 2 capable dual engine interceptor in like the 50s, way ahead of its time. Okay, and essentially our government shit-canned the project, shut it all down. Avro went bankrupt after it. Avro Canada went bankrupt, and all the engineers fled to the States to go work at like NASA and Lockheed Martin and whatnot. And the big rumor at the time was like what everyone says is like, oh, the Americans were like afraid of Avro and whatever, and they were jealous, and they got the Prime Minister to cancel it for some missiles and whatnot, blah, blah, blah. The Avro was doomed from the start. The Avro was doomed from the start because war, unlike Fallout, war changes. The way wars are fought changes. The tactics used change. The Avro was a super fast interceptor. It couldn't turn that good. It was designed to take off and go really fast to intercept Russian bombers coming over the Arctic. That was its job. And then the ICBM got invented. And that threat didn't exist anymore. So now we have a massively expensive plane that doesn't have a role anymore that we need it to fill. And it was canceled. Simple as that. It was designed to fight against a threat that stopped existing. It's the same reason we don't use M113s anymore. We now have IFVs. We stopped using armored personnel carriers because we replaced them with IFVs, infantry fighting vehicles. Because instead of having a box that drives up, drops the troops off and leaves, the box now stays with them and provides cover because the other guys have IFVs. So you want a bit of armor with your troops. So the M113 doesn't fit its role anymore. It's like the A-10 Warthog. The A-10 Warthog has been obsolete for years. It only exists because of politics still. It's nothing but a blue-on-blue evil machine. I know a guy who took a 30 mic to the head from one on blue during Op Medusa in Afghanistan that killed several Canadians as well. The A-10 Warthog does not need to exist anymore. It's designed to fight a battle that stopped existing in the 70s. There are better equipment for it. It's the same reason the F-14 doesn't exist anymore. There's a reason the Aardvark doesn't fly anymore. It's because they are designed to fight against things or fight in ways that don't make sense anymore. So the Avro was a great interceptor, but we didn't need an interceptor. What did we need instead? Not interceptors. We needed NORAD. We need early warning systems. And guess what? Missiles that could just shoot down the bombers instead of having a plane do it, because the missiles were better at that. Because you could put a nuke on them and set the nuke off and take out the whole bomber fleet at once. A-10s are now drone. Yeah, like even drones are already obsoleted. Like the type of drone, like when you see like the videos where like you got the Chinese drone swarm doing its thing, and everyone's like, oh, that'll take down all the American things, blah, 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 blah. It's like, are you watching the videos from Ukraine where like already they have jamming systems that are taking down the drones? Like the drones over there, they already have to use wire guided drones. Like they have to use a wire on a lot of these drones now because there's so much jamming and interference that like those drones don't work. And all those drones you see doing the drone storms, they all work off GPS, which can be jammed. So it's war changes quickly and fighting styles change. And yes, that cool thing you liked as a kid, you had the poster of the F-117, but they don't fly anymore. Well, actually they do fly. The Americans still actually use them. But like the way you fight a war changes and you need to adapt. So the Avro Arrow was canceled because it didn't need to exist anymore. And at the time, we didn't have politicians propping it up like they do with like the A-10 right now. Plus also having seen an A-10 do a live fire exercise before, Burt is cool in real life. Do not get me wrong. If you ever get the chance to see an A-10 do the Burt real life, oh, I felt things. I felt things. I felt things. Blow up a tank for a couple of, yeah, like drones, don't get me wrong, drone warfare is a major thing. I still talk to some of my ex-army buddies and some who are still in, and we share like videos, and it's like, everyone's like, oh, fuck that. No, I don't want to be in a trench with a drone. No, that shit scares me, man. When I was in, I got out in 2014 before all this shit's happened. So for me, it's like, I didn't have to deal with any of this. We were still like training to fight Russians in foxholes. It's like, well, actually, they're still fighting Russians in foxholes, but like we didn't have to worry about drones at the time. That was like pie in the sky worries at the time. It's amazing how much changes. Need air superiority. Well, that's the thing. If you have American as an ally, you pretty much are guaranteed air superiority. And the moment you have air superiority, you got JDAMs dropping on everyone anyways. Has anyone 3D printed a recon drone? Are you ready for the sad, hard truth about 3D printed drones? They suck because carbon fiber is better in every regard. You can pretty much, if you have a basic desktop CNC, you can mill a carbon fiber frame that will be stronger and lighter and more capable than any 3D printed frame for a drone for the vast majority of use cases. You can 3D print drone frames, but it makes way more sense to use carbon fiber. I've made my own drone. I machined my own drone frame. I did a video on it on the channel. It did horribly, but I machined the frame for an Odonata, a little 2.5-inch drone. And I did a video on it. So that is how you do a drone. Although with the newer materials, like the PPCF and whatever from POLYMAKER, if you're gonna buy some, use the affiliate link in the description below. That stuff probably would be pretty good. The problem is you're gonna be limited by layer lines. So you're gonna wanna print stuff basically mimicking a carbon fiber frame, because once you start dealing with like small spindly bits that can break, you got a problem. AC-130. The problem with an AC-130, you need guaranteed air support with no AA. You do not want to be in as much as Russian SAM sites suck. If anyone here tries to defend the S400 system, I'm gonna smack you. You do not want to be in one of those with S400s in the area or any AA system in the area. War never changes refers to the fight that people will always try. Project, I know that in Projects in Dad's Garage. I know that. It's the joke. It's kind of like how in Metal Gear Solid 4 at the beginning, Snake's like, war has changed. War never changes, but war has changed. But it never changes, but it has changed. War is human nature, unfortunately. You gotta fight over something. You know? Can't we all just get along? I admire the Ghost Rider, but I love it. Dude, SR-71, if anyone in this chat right now says they do not like the SR-71, you are getting insta-banned. I'm sorry. The SR-71 is like the pinnacle of analog engineering. If you ask me what is the greatest thing humans designed before computers, like before like modern computers, SR-71. Like on par with Apollo. Like well, they stopped flying the SR-71 because there's a billion satellites in space. The SR-71 doesn't need to exist anymore because we literally have satellites over the whole planet. Like, remember, for those that don't know, every single Starlink satellite has an engineering cam on it that does like high quality video. Now, we're not talking you're going to be able to like read the serial number off of a freaking MiG on a Russian airfield, but every single Starlink satellite in the world has an engineering camera on it looking down at Earth. And there are thousands of them. And on top of that, all the NSA shit. For those that don't know, is it Hubble? I don't think it was Hubble, but NASA had another like satellite that it might have been. I don't think it was Hubble. If somebody correct me, I don't think it was Hubble, but it was another one where the NSA gave NASA a former spy satellite that they never launched, and just like they're like, you can use this, just don't point it down. It's point it up. Because we have them up there pointed down, and don't let people know how good these are. They're like, yeah, we built this like 15 years ago, and it's just been sitting in a warehouse because we never launched it. The program was canceled. You can have it. Go look at stars, because we used it to look down. It's really good at looking down. I don't think, was it Corona? It was one of the satellites. I remember watching, I think it was a Scott Manley video on it. Yeah, it is amazing what you can do when you don't have to worry about healthcare, hey? Like, don't get me wrong, war is bad and whatnot, but I am a military nerd, and the shit that you can do, oh my God, it's insane. Like, DARPA can roll out tomorrow and be like, yeah, you know Metal Gear? Yeah, we actually have one, and I would not be surprised in the slightest. I would not be surprised if like, Boston Dynamics are like, yeah, no, we built a freaking mech. We got a Gundam. You want to see our Gundam? I'd be like, yeah, okay, that makes sense. You guys have the budget for it. It doesn't surprise me. Now I want a Gundam. Anyone who doesn't want a mech, you know, let's be honest, mechs are actually horrible, would be horrible in actual combat use, unless we like develop some metals that don't exist, and power systems that don't exist, and ways to power it and move it that don't exist. Mechs would be horrible in real conflict. They'd just be RPG magnets and sink into the sand and mud. So mechs would not be actually usable in real world scenarios. I would still take one in a heartbeat. I could see power armor. The most I could see is power armor. Augmented power armor for like just being able to carry heavier loads and whatnot. Because like, for example, for reference, documents. No, where is it? Which files? Rotated. Where is my network? Network drive. There's my network drive. Okay. Vault. Arctic X view. Arctic odds. So like, so this is me doing Arctic warfare training up in the Arctic in like 2014. So this is me with like 100 pounds of gear on my back. This rucksack weighed 100 pounds. And like, carry this everywhere with you for the next week in the Arctic. Yeah, I would love some power armor to take that weight. Like, shit's heavy, man. When you got like 10 guys living in a tent like this and you have to carry everything with you, and whatever you're not carrying is in the toboggan and you got to drag it everywhere, shit sucks. So yeah, Give me some power armor to augment myself. But I think that's about as far as we'd ever get. Because beyond that, it gets silly. The Nancy Grace Roman telescope built by unused NRO telescope launches. And I could have sworn they already had one up there that was previously like an NSA something. I could have sworn there was something they already had up there. I don't think it was Hubble. I don't think it was Hubble, but it was something. I remember watching a Scott Manley video on it. This sucks. I forgot to bondo one little area on both of these, so now I have to like wait for it to dry before I can sand it. Your bones more Rapid Dragon. Oh my god. You know what Rapid Dragon does? It turns a Globemaster into a Bullpup. Think about it. Rapid Dragon turns a Globemaster into a Bullpup revolver. You know what? Bullpup's your C5 Galaxy. Is it Galaxy or Globemaster that drops it? I can't remember which one does Rapid Dragon. I can't remember if it's Galaxy or Globemaster. Or is it? It's not C-130. I don't think it's the Herc. I don't think the Herc does Rapid Dragon. Speaking of, who here doesn't know what Rapid Dragon is and wants to see something really cool? Is it C-130? I thought it was too big for C-130. Okay, so it turns a C-130 into a Bullpup revolver. So Rapid Dragon is a missile system. It's a module that you load in the back of a cargo plane, and it carries cruise missiles. So it basically turns any cargo plane the US has into a multi-cruise missile deployment platform. And they just yeet them out the back of the plane. And the US has hundreds of these. So you could just fly up your C-130s 100 miles out of enemy airspace and just start yeeting hundreds of cruise missiles. Not to mention the hundreds that are coming out of like Ticonderoga class cruisers and shit. Or destroyers, whatever class they are. Like, it's insane. The projection of power the US military can do. It is ungodly insane. Like, I'm former Canadian Forces Reserve, and I've been to a bunch of Canadian Forces bases, but I still remember the first time I went to an American Army base and was just blown away. And I was just like, this explains so much. This explains so much. Don't forget the what's the SM-3 Standard Missile 3 platform that they have on the F-18s now? For anyone that shits on the F-35, so some like DARPA guys ripped a line, and they're like, "This is what we're gonna do: the Standard Missile 3, the ship launch missile that we used as, it's just a standard missile. It's used for interception, it's used for attacking stuff. It's a standard missile. It's the size of a telephone pole. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna strap that shit to an F-18. Okay, so this thing has like hundreds of kilometers of range. Okay, it can shoot farther than the F-18 can see. What we're gonna do is the F-18 is gonna talk to an F-35 that's over the horizon, stealthed. And it's gonna lock onto the enemy thing over its horizon. And it's gonna relay that targeting info back to the F-18 that's hundreds of kilometers back there. And then it's gonna launch this telephone pole hundreds of kilometers over the horizon, past the stealth plane, into the side of a MiG. It's awesome what you can do when you don't have healthcare. Habitual line crosser enjoyer. Yeah, he's funny. The F-35 is amazing. For those that don't know the F-35, it is amazing. Because it does everything. It can do so much. And remember, nobody here knows what the F-35 could do, because that shit's all classified. What is it? The F-22, the F-15 is like, what, 104-0 or something right now? What is the F-15 stat right now? The F-15 is like 100-something and 0 in fighter kills. And pretty much every time an F-15 goes up against an F-22 in a trial, in a combat trial, the F-22 wins. The reason there is no F-22 replacement is because they don't need a replacement. There is nothing that beats the F-15, and that thing's 50 years old. Remember, when you think, oh, what's a 50-year-old plane? It's not a B-17 bomber or a P-51 Mustang. A 50-year-old plane is an F-15 and an F-16. The F-15's like 52 years old now. The F-22 is 80s tech built in the 90s. The F-35 is 90s tech built in the 2000s. Obviously, there's been upgrades along the way, right? I'm talking about like the original models, but like, so what the heck are they cooking up right now? What is the B-21 is 2010's tech being built now. So what's being based on this year's tech? The F-22 cannot be exported. They cannot risk it falling to anyone else's hands because it is such an air dominance platform. And it is yet to get any A-to-A kills other than a frickin' weather balloon. Somebody's got to let the kid out. Oh, and by the way, no matter whatever like China or other countries have, just remember, there are thousands. There's over 1,000 F-35s now. And the F-35s can take an F-15 pretty handedly. So it's like, it's like why there's no replacement for the Abrams. The Americans don't work on new tanks because there are no competing tanks they need to take on. It's like the F-14. I am so sad that they had to do that. For those that don't know, for those that, you know, you can see historical planes fly when they retire planes. There's a few airframes they keep operational for like air shows or collections or museums. There are no operational F-14s. There are no operational F-14s in the world except for Iran. And it's because Iran has F-14s, the US destroyed all the engines because they couldn't risk any parts of any of those engines getting into Iranian hands so they could do maintenance on their F-14s because they have to salvage them for parts because they only have a couple left. So it is sad that the Tomcat can never fly again because the Iranians still have some that are airworthy and they can't afford parts getting into their hands. That really, as an F-14 enjoyer, it is sad. Like, I believe the one they used in the Top Gun Maverick movie was a airframe, but it was basically completely empty on the inside, if I remember correctly. Also, the fact that they spoiled that there's an F-14 in that movie, in the trailers, ooh, so annoying. I hate when movies do that. If I enjoyed it, watching them go, like, when they see the F-14, it's like, yeah. Because, you know, nostalgia, right? I remember. But if they didn't spoil that and it was a complete surprise, oh, that would have blown me away in theaters. Like, yeah. Nothing you saw flying in Maverick. Well, I know they had to do a bunch of replacements and editing and whatnot. Don't get me wrong. But they still did fly real planes for a lot of that. They just kind of... I'm okay with doing it real and enhancing it with CGI. I'm okay with that. Replacing things and whatnot. Yeah, that happens. I understand it. And I know, like, the whole final dogfight was fully CGI because they didn't have a freaking... an Su-57 that was actually airworthy, because let's be honest, I don't even think the Russians have real airworthy Su-57s. Like in terms of like actual 100% combat capable ones. They have like a dozen of them that can fly, but we don't know how actual operational capable they are. And also they have a dozen of them. That's nothing. What time are we at anyways? Oh, we're... Steve Weatherman, what does Steve say? B-52s used to fly over the house I live. Steve, B-52s are gonna fly over your kid's house. They're B-52s. I swear, one day they're just gonna be like, yeah, so we're gonna put the what are they up to? They're up to the J package right now, or the J package, I don't know. They're gonna like, this is the Y package on the B-52. We've added a laser system to it. It now drops like black hole bombs, and it's got nuclear propulsion for space flight. I'd be like, yeah, that's reasonable. It's a B-52, it's the Buff. The Buff's a 100-year-old airframe. It's like, we've advanced so much in a lot of ways, and then a lot of things, it's like, big dumb plane carry big dumb bomb. Don't need anything else. Cruise missile magazines, yeah. Cruise missile magazines. Well, Rapid Dragon is basically turning a Herc into, into a bomber. A lot of that stuff is meant for fighting in the Pacific, by the way. The whole Rapid Dragon stuff and whatnot, for those that don't know, all that stuff's being developed so that you can fight in a location where you may not always have land. So you can have forward operation bases, FOBs on islands, and then you can launch from those islands, go to a certain place over the water, and then deploy assets that continue on to their destination. A lot of that stuff's being developed for island hopping. Back to the Pacific. Rather not. I think I'm past the age where if something shit goes down, I get redrafted. Because I know, you know, if anything, if shit hits the fan and the draft goes out, former military, you usually are first in line. Because like, oh, you already kind of know what you're doing. Get back in the, put your uniform back on. But I think I'm past the age. Although, if it gets that bad, you would actually want to deploy the older people first. It's like people criticize Ukraine for not wanting to draft younger people. One, their younger portion of the population isn't actually that large. And two, they don't want to end up like Russia, where they basically kill off all their kids in combat, and then it screws themselves over in the future. You actually kind of want to, as much as it sucks, you want to send the dads to war because they've already had their kids. And that's just a shitty part. But that's kind of what you want to do in a situation like that. You don't want to send the kids because you're going to need the kids to have kids. That's why Russia never recovered from World War II. They sent so many young people to, they lost an entire generation. So Russia, well, the Soviet Union after World War II never had the baby boom because the people that would have the baby boom in the US all died. And then they never had the echo boom. Like if you look at the population charts, their population's declining because they lost out an entire generation. And because they lost that generation, they lost that generation's generation. And it's just been echoing. And now they're doing it again in Ukraine. It's hey. Okay. There's a mic he used to work on the P-20s. Ooh, nice. There's an old, yeah. Did you get out the old air bases from World War II? Yeah. You look bad. What are you doing? For rough terrain, the Herc is pretty amazing. Yeah, the Herc is. I've been in a Herc. I've flown in a Herc. It sucks to fly in. It's loud and it's cold, but. The birth rate in North America is already in the toilet. It's starting to flush. Steve, that is normal. Pretty much every country, once you start getting a large population living in cities and education goes up, birth rates drop. You have a lot of kids because kids used to die, right? Back before modern medicine, and you needed people to work the farms. Like, that's how it was. Nowadays, having a kid is a luxury. Like, kids are bloody expensive. And with everyone having to work now, it's not like the old days where it's like your dad could work at Sears selling TVs and he could be the sole breadwinner for the family. Mom could stay at home and raise the 5 or 8 kids you have. That doesn't exist anymore. And considering how much is being automated away, how much more productive people are thanks to automation tools and streamlining of production, we don't need as many people. If anything, we need less people. So the resources are less stressed. Like, I'm not saying, you know, get rid of people. I'm just saying we just don't need to have as many kids as we used to. But, you know, companies don't want their money being taxed and rich people don't want their money being taxed. So we got to have more kids so that the poor people can be taxed to pay for the rich people. So it is what it is. But yeah, pretty much every country, as the population gets better educated and moves out of agrarian culture and moves into like cities and whatnot, and as the countries industrialize, birth rates drop. Every country experiences this. Every country experiences it. And even people from countries that don't have this, when they move to an educated country, within like 2 or 3 generations, the birth rates normalize. So it's normal for the population to drop. It should be dropping. The problem is we're still operating like it's not dropping. So the system can't handle it, but it could. And it's going to have to at a certain point because nobody can afford to have kids. Shit's expensive. I want to get this one done, that one done, and then I can put them in the paint booth. In the 60s, my best friend mom worked at Sears selling TVs. Yeah, like, it's like, what was it? Minimum wage in the 80s is like the equivalent of like $30 an hour now, US, or whatever it was. In US, it's minimum wage is $7.25 or whatever it is, which is pitiful. Do better. Back in 1950, usually there was less than 10,000 Latinos in the whole USA now. I mean, it is what it is. Like, I don't look at race statistics at all. You shouldn't really, but people are people. People are people. I don't care where you're from, what your background is. People are people. The world is a global community now. In 3 months, I'm going to hop on a plane. In 15 hours, I'll be in Shanghai. Like, the world is very small. A freaking line in the dirt doesn't mean anything anymore, really. We're all people. Cries the cost of business, but just decrease shareholder profits. Like, you can still make money. Don't get me wrong. I'm all for people making money, but at a certain point, it becomes ridiculous, I think. And if your profits are at the loss of, you know, everyone, it's not worth it. It's not worth it. Does Zuck Musk and Bezos having $1 trillion benefit society in any way? No. If their $1 trillion was put into education, healthcare, and housing, and better roads, and better power grids and whatnot, would that benefit the world more than them just sitting on $1 trillion in combined assets? But it is what it is. I'm just sitting here drinking a beer and sanding, so. It's funny, I'm working on parts and then I'm like, wait a minute, you're never gonna see that once I put this together. Not a single, I know, I am so disappointed from like media, how many rich people either become like superheroes and shit, and instead we got rich people becoming Bond villains, but being extremely lame about it, like lying about how they're good at Path of Exile. If you haven't watched Quinn's video on Elon Musk playing Path of Exile, go watch it. It is absolutely hilarious how obvious it is. Like, here's the thing, like, I want to criticize him, but I can only criticize him on stuff I can, like, reliably confer. I've spoken to Tim Dodd, and according to him, Musk, like, when it comes to the rocket stuff, he does know what he's talking about. He is educated in that. So I'm like, I can give him credit for that. I'll give him credit for the rocket stuff. He actually does understand the rocket stuff. Like, he is actually pretty well versed in rocket science. He is a pretty big project and part of the SpaceX development process. And this is speaking to a primary source, somebody who has actually spoken to him directly. So I'm like, I get that. That's kind of why I prefer SpaceX to his other endeavors. Because it's like, that is actually tangible stuff. They can catch a freaking 22-story rocket. And they can land a second stage with pinpoint accuracy in the ocean. Like, I give them credit for that. I'll give them credit for that. Just get off Twitter, buddy. Get out of the politics. You're getting very weird about it. Just stick with the rockets. Shut up about the politics. And we'll like you again. But the problem is, you can only make so much money just being a rich guy. At a certain point, you got to start getting government power. And he's at the I need government power now. And for the whole SpaceX makes money off the US government, yes, it does. But SpaceX has actually saved the US government a shit ton of money because they charge so much less than the other companies for putting stuff in space. So yes, SpaceX does make a lot of money from the US government, but it's not really subsidies because they are actually delivering what they are delivering. They are actually providing the services that they are being paid for. So you can't really fault that. Like, let's be honest. It's pretty freaking cool that you can get high-speed internet anywhere on the planet now. Like, 5 years ago, that wasn't even a thing. Now, everywhere in the world, you can get high-speed internet just by pointing a dish up in the sky. You gotta admit, that is pretty substantial as a civilization that we now have that ability. Like, schools in Africa and freaking middle of the Amazon rainforest or boats in the middle of the ocean. High-speed internet. Everyone can get it. That is pretty, like, substantial, and he does deserve credit for that. And for anyone's like, and yes, I know the SpaceX engineers are a massive part of that. But would SpaceX be what it is without him? I don't think so. I don't think so. Because there's plenty of other rocket companies developed, and none of them are doing what they're doing. So, problem is he controls the internet? Not really. A lot of it does fall under, put it this way, if he tried to shut down, the US government would take it over in a heartbeat because it's a national asset now. If they try to control it, like some people think he can control it, the US government would step in immediately. I mean, there's Starlink, and then there also is Starshield. If you don't know what Starshield is, it's Starlink for the military. The military has their own Starlink satellites called Starshield. That's a US DoD asset. If Muskie tried to deny them that, it would be nationalized in a heartbeat because it's such a strategic asset. So, and as for him shutting it down with the Ukraine thing, they did that because when they gave him the original Starlink satellites, they were specifically told not to use them for actual military use in Russian territory or in combat, because this is at the time, remember, a private company giving civilian assets to the Ukrainian military. He did not want them going into war. If you don't know what ITAR is, look it up. But essentially, they were given to be like, hey, you can use these for communication, but like, don't be strapping them to shit and using them to guide missiles. And the Ukrainians did that, and they got shut down. That's changed. But at the time, if you're a civilian company and you donate stuff for non-combat use, and it turns out your stuff is being used for combat, that is a good way to get in a lot of trouble from the US government. So I can kind of understand them doing a little bit of a panic. It kind of makes sense when you think about it. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm all for watching Russian ship blow up. But you kind of have to look through the perspective of a privately owned civilian company donating essentially weapons of war. It's one of those things. What have you walked into? I've been sanding for the past like 2 hours, and we've going down different topics. We're on military now, and somehow that transitioned into Starlink. So we were talking about Rapid Dragon earlier, which was pretty cool. And strapping telephone poles to F-18s and having them talk to stealth F-35s and launching telephone poles over the horizon. Russian ships kind of do that on their own. They do. Did you see what's going on with the Kursk bridge? So because the Russians are so afraid of the Ukrainians taking out the Kursk bridge, as they should, they've put up a ton of protections around it to prevent their like little drone boats from going up and blowing it up. So because of that, the big ships that used to go into the Sea of Azov to offload like cargo and fuel and whatnot can't get in there because of the protections on the bridge. So all the little ships that are like designed for going up rivers and whatnot in like the little harbor there have to go out into the Black Sea to go like offload these big ships. And the little ships can't handle the waves and they're all breaking. Because these are all ships that were built in the 50s. And in the 70s, they cut them in half and extended them. How good do you think 70s Soviet welding is? And by the way, it's 2025 and these are still the same ships. So they're going out in the Sea of Azov and they're all getting broken in half from the waves, which is spilling a shit ton of oil too, which is actually really bad, but the Soviet tractor is good. Yeah. The US government was paying. Yes, but they were given to them on the condition that they would not be used as essentially a weapon, and they were. They were weaponized. They were basically used as the communication link for a drone bomb, which they weren't supposed to do, but they did. Now they're allowed to do it. Now they're doing it. But at the time, they weren't supposed to. And when they found out, because they can see where all the receivers are, like, why are these things in the ocean? Why are they heading towards Russian assets? They're not supposed to be doing this. Oh, shit. And they shut them down because they were literally afraid of causing like a big incident. But here's the thing. I don't know everything. Nobody here knows everything. It's an active war. It's OPSEC. We don't know everything. We can only go off what's been told. So it's OPSEC is a thing, and I guarantee you we don't know everything that's going on, and we'll probably never even get the real story of what happened there until like years from now, and it's all over. So a navy of drone jet skis going toe-to-toe with Russia. What a time. You know what the cool thing is? They started arming the drone ships. So these little drone ships now that are basically just bombs, they put missiles on them. So they basically put like their equivalent of like a Stinger on them. So when the Russians send out the little helicopters to go shoot at these drone ships, they get shot down by missiles now. It's all automated too. So we actually have AI drones shooting down Russian helicopters now. And then also, they're putting drones on the drone ships. So now the drone ships go drive around Crimea, and they just kind of park somewhere, and they let go a bunch of like regular UAV drones that then fly into bases and blow shit up. It's insane. Like, as I said, I'm kind of glad I'm not in the army anymore. This shit's scary. Oh yeah, the big difference. Yeah, oh yeah, Starlink, because Starlink's so low, right? The good thing with Starlink, you can't really get Kessler syndrome with Starlink because the satellites only have like a 5-year lifespan. They're deployed to low Earth orbit. So if like everything turns off on them or they break or whatever, everything falls to Earth within 5 years. That's the advantage. So you get high-speed internet with low latency. The downside is you have to continuously be resupplying the Starlink pool of satellites because they wear out. That's why the whole reusable rockets that are cheap to do is important, because Starship can do like 54 satellites at once, and it's 100% reusable once they get it fully operational. Because here's the thing, it's fully operational right now. Starship is technically fully operational. It can deliver payload to orbit. They just haven't bothered to do it because they've purposely done suborbital for now, and they're trying to recover the second stage. The first stage is proven reliable already. They've already caught 2 of them. That is a super heavy lift first stage reusable booster, that is reliable now. We know it's reliable. They can almost reuse it now. So the Starship system is actually usable now if they needed to. If aliens attack tomorrow and we had to put 100 tons into orbit, they could launch a Starship in a month that can do it. But they're not aiming for that. They're aiming to get the system fully reliable and reusable and good to go. And then they'll start delivering payloads. Military rockets. I mean, technically military is rockets, or rockets are military, or they started, but no, they couldn't. They could. They've purposely put every Starship they put into space on suborbital. Literally all they had to do was burn the engines for like a minute, not even a minute longer, and they would have been orbital. And then they could have delivered payload. They just haven't bothered to do it yet. Yeah, Blue Origin. I'm so pissed New Glenn, the bong blew up. I love how people started calling, I pointed it out a while ago that it's called the bong, and now I'm seeing other people point it out. I'm sure I'm not the first one to call it the bong. Blue Origin, New Glenn. It's the bong. But yeah, we've got now 2 super heavy capable rockets. The Chinese are also working on their super heavy. It's an exciting time for space. And I'm happy for all of it. More rockets, more betterer. Rated payload. Okay, not quite 100 tons. But they're getting there. They could put a payload. You could put the second stage of SLS on the first stage of a Starship booster, replace the solid rocket motors and everything, basically cut out the entire first stage of SLS, put it on top of the first stage of a booster, Starship booster, and send it. Like, they can put payload in orbit. They just haven't bothered yet. Hey, TikTok is gone, rejoice or not. I never had used TikTok. I don't have TikTok. I created a TikTok account a couple years ago to try and grow the channel. I had a couple TikToks that got a couple million views, actually, led to absolutely zero growth to the channel. And since I don't sell anything that I could hawk into TikTok, nor does TikTok at the time allow Canadians to monetize their accounts, I stopped using it, and I don't browse TikTok at all. I don't have the app. I think I deactivated my account maybe. I haven't used TikTok in years. So I really don't care. I don't even use Facebook. I have a Facebook account, but it's literally like I have like 40 friends, and other than like a couple people from like high school or like the one guy I met at work like 10 years ago, it's mostly family, and I check it once a week, if that. The only social media I use is YouTube, because it's my job. Twitter, because it's a good place to reach to the community regularly, and Blue Sky, and Discord. That's pretty much it. And Twitch, really. But Twitch is more, while I am starting to stream more on it, it's more just personal me watching some creators on Twitch. I don't even browse Twitch. I just watch a couple creators. So, as for TikTok being gone, I think all social media of that style is toxic. It encourages brain rot. But I do not condone it being banned, because here's the thing. It doesn't do anything different than any other social medias. In terms of like the whole data collection thing, then why aren't you shutting down the Temu app? Why aren't you shutting down any other Chinese company app that tracks all your shit on your phone? And by the way, you can go to a data broker and buy all this information from an American company anyways. So again, where'd I put I need the asset. 1 second, sorry. In my humble opinion, the reason TikTok is being taken down is 2 reasons. One, it's the only large social media site that's not owned by an American or an American-based company. And the American companies, Facebook and YouTube, and other American companies, they cannot, it's bigger. TikTok is bigger, and it's a competition that they can simply remove from the equation by getting the US government to ban it. So they want to ban competition that they can't compete against. And 2, according to multiple sources and charts and whatnot I've seen, out of all the other social media sites, TikTok is and this is where I'm wearing the tinfoil hat, prepare, I am going down this tangent, It is the only large social media site that actually has a large, vocal, left-leaning voice. Yes, there are left-leaning voices on all the other social media sites, but predominantly it is the right-leaning voices that are the largest and the most noticeable. Whereas TikTok actually has a pretty large left-leaning voice. That is, now don't get me wrong, there's also right-leaning on TikTok, but TikTok has one of the largest left-leaning voices that is actually noticeable and spread out. You saw a lot of that with the Palestinian protests and whatnot. Pretty much that stuff didn't exist on any other social media except TikTok. So 2 reasons. 1, it's competition, and the easiest way to get rid of it is either force it to sell it to them or force it to shut down. And 2, government control of the narrative, because the other social medias are American, and if the government tells them to do something, they jump. It's about control and money. Has nothing to do with your data. Moving on. But TikTok, there are serious security issues too. There's security issues. Then why is nobody complaining about the Temu app? The Temu app does everything, collects the same data the TikTok app does. What, your browsing habits? What kind of TikToks you like to watch? That's the only difference. It's still the Temu apps, and all the other apps still collect all your data. You can go to Meta and buy user data. All these social media sites sell your user data. If you don't pay for something, you are the product, and they collect all your information so they can sell it. So anyone can go to these companies and get user data. It's not about the user data. Or it's an extremely small, I think the biggest reason they're doing it is control of the narrative and competition. Remove competition, force them to either sell it or shut down so they no longer exist, or yeah. Can anyone buy user data? I mean, if you have hundreds of millions of dollars, probably. Companies do it all the time. Look at the Cambridge Analytica stuff from Facebook back in the day, around the last election. It's a thing. Like, remember when it was cute when everyone read that first story years ago, where like a dad found out his daughter was pregnant because Target started sending them ads for like baby stuff, because Target had figured out she was pregnant based on her buying habits. And we all thought that was creepy that companies knew that much about us. And that was like 10 years ago. A lot's changed. Quite a bit has changed. 40, 50 tons in orbit. Falcon Heavy can do 50 some. But the big difference is Starship is near reusable, or at least catchable. And once they get Raptor 2s online, it should be able to do close to 100 tons. The problem with Starship, the reason why New Glenn is better in some regards, New Glenn has traditional fairings. So Starship right now only has a little Pez dispenser for Starlink satellites. And eventually I think they're gonna have like a clamshell version that opens like a hatch. But New Glenn has a 7-meter wide by like 15-meter long fairing that just pops open. So New Glenn can deliver larger payloads to orbit, but Starship will be able to deliver heavier payloads to orbit. Plus Starship will be able to refuel in orbit eventually, once they prove it out. So they're different ships with different goals in mind. And that's the best part. We can now specialize heavy lift. We have specialized heavy lift spaceships. That's pretty freaking cool. Don't get me wrong. You got like, that's pretty freaking cool. We have specialized heavy lift capable spaceships for different use cases now. Like, part of me does not miss the 2000s and early 2010s space flight when it was like, ooh, an Atlas rocket is launching. Or Ariane Space and their shitty 1995 graphics of their second stage. We're getting there. We're getting there. Eventually we'll sort our shit out. TikTok gives the Chinese government control over the information Americans consume while faith in information is being undermined. I mean, American companies collect all your data and give it to the US government. It is what it is. And to be fair, I don't think it's about the data at all. I think it's simply the fact that the algorithm and the content it promotes is not controlled by an American entity. And they don't like that. They don't like the fact that something that they can deem they don't want people seeing or whatever, a narrative they don't want being promoted can be promoted on that platform, and they can't do anything to stop it. That's the thing. Because I guarantee you, if something started going viral on Facebook and the US government like knocked on Zuckerberg's door and like, hey, shut that shit down, he would. For an entity they can't do that to. But that's what the tinfoil hat's for. Again, I'm Canadian. I get to keep my TikTok. I don't even have TikTok installed on my phone. I don't even like, I don't even know if my account's still active. But I'm Canadian, so haha, Americans, I get TikTok and you don't. Gonna have Americans moving to Canada instead of the other way around, eh? They come up here and get our TikTok. That's why you want to annex us, right? You want our precious TikTok. Went to a communist app as protest. That's the. I mean, to be fair, technically an app itself is not inherently communist or capitalist. It's just an application. Also, Redbook or whatever it's called isn't even TikTok. It's like their equivalent of like Instagram. Also, I love the roasting on there. It's like, wait, your minimum wage is this much and it hasn't increased in 10 years? I thought that was our government propaganda. Wow, it does suck over there. And Americans are like, oh. Yeah, it's the Red Book app. Yeah, it's Mao's little red book of, what was it, quotes or something? Quotes or poems or something? Have you ever seen like, not the propaganda, but like, you know, it's art. The Chinese Communist Party art, it has Mao, and he always has this like little red book with him. And it's like art or poems or quotes or something that he wrote. And yeah. I'm a firm believer that a people is not inherently a certain way. And I like to give people the benefit of the doubt. Governments are governments, but the people are people, and we're all people. So I got no ill will against people. We're all just people at the end of the day. Largely controlled by the Chinese government. I mean, it's not even controlled by the Chinese government. Like, yes, ByteDance is a Chinese company, but like, aren't they in like Singapore or something? Like the CEO is from Singapore, and like all the data is technically in the US still. It's all on American servers. It's just the US government doesn't have its fingers in the algorithm, and US companies aren't making money off of it. Those are the two, I think those are the two biggest things. It's an algorithm the US government doesn't have any way to control, and it's profits US companies can't compete with. Because let's be honest, Facebook, Reels or whatever the hell they're called, and YouTube Shorts are nowhere near as big as TikTok. So they want it gone, or they want to be able to buy it to get rid of the competition. And the government doesn't like it because they can't control the narrative. I think those are the two biggest reasons. The whole it being if this was an Indian app, I'm sure we'd be saying pretty much the same thing, maybe. Like if this was a Norwegian app, maybe like. What? I'm gonna come back from China. I'm gonna come back from China. I'm gonna go to TCT Asia. I'm gonna come back. You capitalist pigs. What's the John Candy movie where he gets interrogated? Ah, shoot! I gotta find the clip. I can't find the clip. I can't play it because it's YouTube. There's like a clip of John Candy where he's like captured. I can't remember the exact movie. I've seen the clip a while ago, but it's like John Candy gets captured by like, I think it's Chinese. Is it Canadian bacon? Is it Canadian bacon? I remember seeing the movie as a kid, and then I saw the clip again recently. But he's like being captured by the Chinese, and he's like, "Oh, we are going to torture." And he's like, "I will never break," blah blah blah. And then it just cuts cuts right to a scene of him like just in the Chinese like the Mao like suit, like the Imperial dog. Blah, 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 blah. John Candy, rip. Canadian Bacon, yep, a traditional Canadian movie, obviously. I haven't seen that movie in so long. I watched it as a kid. John Candy taking a leak on Fleer. By the way, yes, farts do appear on Fleer. Scientifically tested. With government equipment that cost more than I made in a year at the time. Their iron thumb. I mean, all movies do limit what can be played. Like all countries do have limits. Yes, I fully I'm not going to argue that as a country they limit, they censor stuff. But I mean, I can't go on Twitter and say cisgendered without it getting flagged. Every country has their rules. When you're in somebody's house, you respect their rules. It is what it is. Do I agree with it? No. Their house, their rules. Do I agree with it? No. But it's their house, their rules. You can't go in somebody's house and tell them to change. You can hope they change. You can wish they change. But you don't go in somebody's house and tell them to change. Because it doesn't end well. You can hope things improve. And I hope things improve. But it's their house, their rules. Again, we're all just people. All just people. New rules that TikTok. I mean, I'm Canadian, so TikTok's not banned up here. You Americans and your Americans and your hate of the TikTok. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna set up a YouTube channel. I'm gonna set up a YouTube channel. I'm gonna create a TikTok account, okay? And my YouTube channel. And I'm gonna co-stream on Twitch. It's just gonna be a camera looking at a phone, and depending on chat, I will like and skip videos on TikTok. And I'll be like, I'll legally stream TikTok to Americans. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna set up a YouTube account and a Twitch channel, and I'm gonna pirate TikTok to Americans on the internet. So you'll be able to get your TikTok fix, and you guys can vote. We'll be democratic about it. I'll have a bot that reads chat, and you can do like, block, and like skip or something. It would probably get taken down. It'd probably get DMCA'd pretty quickly. So I'm not going to do that. I'm not gonna risk my job over that. When the TikTok ban goes through, I'm gonna be pirating TikTok to the Americans, and when the 60% China tariffs go through, I'm gonna be smuggling bamboo printers across the frozen Lake Erie in the winter. I'm gonna be running printers, 3D printers from China over the Lake Erie into the US. I'm gonna make so much money off you guys. I wonder, here's the thing, I don't want to get banned off either platform. If I never bothered with Twitch and I didn't care about Twitch streaming, it would be funny to try and do that. It would be funny to try and do that. Just to make a meme account and just stream like a phone on TikTok and be pirate TikTok. That would be funny. That would be funny. I kind of want to do that, or at least hope somebody tries that. That idea is free. If anyone wants to do that, do it. I'm giving that idea to the community. Somebody take that idea and run with it. Just give me credit and at least 15% of the profits. I'm not greedy. 15%, just 15%. I'm okay with that. But just credit me for the idea. Give me 15% of the profits. You can take that idea, run with it. If you happen to get rich doing it, just hook a brother up. I like the people who think Tor is a non-private. Oh God, Tor. What was it? Onion browser? Onion. What was the? Oh God, I'm trying to remember what we used back in the day. I'm trying to remember what was like the really like in like the late 2000s. What was like the really shitty free VPN? I'm trying to remember. What was it? Tor? I'm trying to remember what we used back when we were all using like low orbit ion cannon to attack the Church of Scientology on 4chan back in the day. Anyone else around for that? Back during the whole Scientology thing on 4chan, where everyone was firing up their low orbit ion cannons and spamming the Church of Scientology websites and whatnot. Back in my day, I remember when memes were flash-based. If you got a good meme, if you found a good icon that has cheeseburger, that was your meme for like the week. Nowadays, shit's way too fast. Memes come and go way too quick. You got no cultural relevancy now. Back in my day, memes meant something. Like you didn't make a meme. Memes just kind of happened. They grew from like the ether. They were just intangible things that just kind of appeared from nowhere. But now it's like everything's forced and hot tua, and I miss the old days. Back in my day. I need to find some paper towels. Do I have paper towels on my shelf, or do I gotta go downstairs and get some? I think I gotta go downstairs and get some. Or actually, I might have some over here. No. I want to try and get one coat of paint on this before I call it. 1 second, I'm gonna go downstairs and grab a paper towels. Haha, I do have paper towels. We're gonna buy paper towels next time we're at Costco. Okay. Remember YT? You're the man now, dog. I swear, like 2002 to 2008 was like the heyday of the internet, I believe. It's kind of like how I believe 1999 was the peak of human civilization, because everything's gone to shit since then. None of this 2016 Harambe. No, 1999. Agent Smith was right. But like the early days of the internet, if you were plugged in back then, oh, you were around for some great moments. Like back when 4chan didn't suck, and it was actually like good. Like there was actually like legit stuff going on there. Best training video for SolidWorks. You're gonna find a YouTube video. It's gonna have what was that song called? That trance. It's gonna have that trance song playing. I can't play it because it gets flagged immediately on YouTube and copywritten. And it's gonna be a Windows XP desktop with a unregistered hypercam in the middle, and it's gonna be a guy gonna open a notepad. And hello, today I will show you how to hack and download whatever game for free. I remember. Am I all out of ISO? I'm running low on ISO already. Shoot. I have more ISO? I am running low on ISO. Shoot. Do I have any? Oh, I'm out of ISO. I gotta go shopping for ISO. That's not good. Oh well. Great 4chan prank, the Bloom Boy. Yep, Bloom Boy. The pool is closed. I was part of the Habbo. I did Habbo hotel raids back in the day. As was the style at the time. It's a different time. It's amazing how like culturally things kind of, that period came and went. And like, it's amazing how like little of it kind of stuck around. Like it's, I'm not saying it was like a flash in the pan, but it was like, it came and it went. Because the problem is a lot of that stuff is gone. There's like no way to pull up a lot of those old websites. Like in grade 8, I remember going to like stickdeath.com and playing like flash stick games of like shooting and whatnot. Like it's amazing how much of that old pre-corporate mega site internet just kind of disappeared. It's kind of sad. So, back in my day. Okay, 1 second here. I'm just going to try and get one coat of paint on here, and then we're going to do the giveaway. So if you haven't entered for your chance to win some filament from POLYMAKER, you might want to hurry up. Because I'm going to clean this up, do a coat of paint, and then we're going to get working. Oh, shoot, that's all dirty. 1 second here. Actually, you go here for now. Use Netscape Navigator? No, I was on Mozilla Firefox back then, I believe. Like, yeah, okay, the school computers had Netscape Navigator. I'm 37 this year, so like, I was in grade 8 when 9/11 happened. That's my reference point. I was in grade 8 when 9/11 happened. That's my reference point for my generation to put it in perspective for everyone else. I think that's like the easiest way to like, when were you around? What do you remember? Blah, blah, blah. Okay, 9/11, I was in grade 8. Like a child of Netscape? It is. It is. And a primary school just about to understand. Yeah. Well, I don't even know what primary school is. We don't have primary schooling. Well, it depends what province you're in. Here in Ontario, it's JK, SK, grade 1 to 8 is grade school. So most grade schools have kindergarten built into them. So like the school my little guy goes to, he's going to that school till grade 8. He started in JK, SK, grade 1 to 8 is grade school. And then high school is grade 9 to 12. When I was in high school, they had grade 13, but they got rid of it like a year before I graduated or something. You know, I did do a grade 13 because a lot of people did because they didn't know what we wanted to do. And then as soon as we graduated high school and got out of college, 2008 happened and everything went to shit because the market, the entire, all the markets collapsed. And it's been shit since then. I think we're on like the third or fourth once in a lifetime economic collapse for my generation or something. So, good times, good times. Installing Novell NetWare. Our family computer, we got our first family computer in like 99, I want to say. We had Windows 2000 on it. Pirated Windows 2000, YAR. Windows 2000 at the time. If you were cool, you ran Windows 2000. None of this Windows ME shit. Windows 2000. I can't remember. It had a Pentium 2 or something, and then we upgraded to a Pentium 3 that I overclocked. And it had a 192 megabytes of RAM and a Radeon 9200 SE graphics card. And I still have the box for it somewhere. Played the crap out of Unreal Tournament on it. Where did I put that one? Windows 2000 was awesome. Yeah. And then in like 2004, I want to say, I got my own laptop. because I couldn't have my own computer. You don't need your own computer. We have a family computer, but you can get a laptop for school. So I was allowed to get a laptop. So I bought a laptop in 2004 or something like that. Either 2004 or 2005, I can't remember. And it was a AMD Athlon 64 claw hammer with like 512 megs of RAM and an 80 gig hard drive. I played World of Warcraft on it and a bunch of other stuff. Actually, it might have been 2005. I can't remember what year it was. Probably 2005, I want to say. Because it came with Half-Life 2 free. So actually, can you see when you bought a game on your Steam account? Can you see when you bought a game on your Steam account? Sort by recent activity. Half-Life. Like Half-Life 2. Go to your purchase history and your account settings. Change account. Okay. One second. Account settings. Steam. Change account settings. Account settings. Email address, back status. Account details. View purchase history. Doesn't even go back that far. The purchase history only goes down to 2008. And in 2008, I got Gary's mod. In May of 2008. I got Left 4 Dead 2 in 2009. Yeah, it doesn't even go back that far. But yeah, like I got with my laptop, I got Half-Life 2. Like it was bundled with it because it had a Radeon graphics card. Okay, so this one's ready for paint. I will actually do the painting after the stream ends. I'm not gonna make you guys sit there and listen to me spray paint. I'm just getting everything ready for paint right now so I can put a coat on it before I go to bed. You got your tea? No, I had Unreal Tournament on a disc. Like I had it on a disc. Same with like the original Call of Duty. He said duty. Okay. Quake 2 or Team Arena? No, I played Unreal Tournament mostly against bots because I was young and that's all I could figure out. Although I did eventually how to figure out how to play online and got my ass kicked. The first game that I played online that I actually put a lot of time into was StarCraft Brood War. So I played a bunch of StarCraft Brood War in early high school. Played a lot of custom maps and whatnot. I tried getting into Diablo, but it was never, those type of games never were for me. Like ARPGs were never really, I didn't really like that kind of game. I played it, but it never really got too into it. And then I got into World of Warcraft and played a bunch of MMOs and whatnot. And played EVE Online for a bit. Spreadsheet in space, in space, in space. Okay. That's enough of that. Yeah, I know today's stream was completely random, but it is what it is. I got what I wanted to do get done, and we got to chat and yap about it on a Saturday night. What's not to love? And again, yes, I know we go into politics and whatnot. It is what it is. We yap about stuff. There's different topics. I'm going to try and not do that kind of stuff on build streams going forward. I know some people really don't like it, but like a stream like this is just yapping with chat. We're just hanging out, building stuff, working on stuff, and having fun. So. Okay, let's do a giveaway. If you have not entered, it's a little late because I'm closing it now, but you'll have another chance on Tuesday. So create. And then after the stream ends, if I might not get to it tonight because it actually is later than I thought it would be. I am going to try and get that, the talk about bamboo that I did at the beginning of stream. I'm going to take that segment and try and edit it into a video and put that out tomorrow on the channel. Okay. So we'll see. We'll see. 1 second here. Oh, where'd that go? File. Save. Okay, open Marbles up. For anyone that was around during that little chat about bamboo at the beginning of the stream, was that a good take? Like, I haven't really done that before where I talked about something on stream with the plan of turning it into a video after the stream ended. But do you think that worked out pretty good? Do you think it was a good chat about it? Okay, let's see here. Add names, clear. Oh, no. Gotta clear the old names first. What do we got? 260. 260. Bots. 260. Play. Indeed. Okay. I'll probably put it out as I might just push it right live instead of doing like an early thing. Hit the nail on the head. Okay. So how this works, if you win, you get a spool of filament from POLYMAKER, but if I pick your ball and you win, you also get a free hat. So this person right here. Lewis Seul. If you win, you get a free hat along with your spool of filament from POLYMAKER. Could have been worse, could have been better. That is what it is. I'll see what I get. Rigged. Remember, exclamation mark zoom zoom makes you go faster. Exclamation mark gullible makes everyone else go slow. Ooh, it's a diner. And if you like the smash button, ring the bell, and I don't know, gift the sub or gift a membership. Greases your ball up and makes it go faster. Look at all these shiny balls. Wow, I'm in awe of all these amazing balls. They're so pretty. Okay, who's in the lead? Acrid. Don't fall down the stairs, Acrid. Don't fall down the stairs. You got this. You got this. It's yours to lose, Acrid. You're in the lead. Okay. What are you doing in there, Acrid? Come on. Quit bouncing around. Come on, Acrid. Come on, Acrid. You can do it. Oh, who was that? South Ash. Goodbye. Acrid, move. Come on, come on. They're catching up. Patrick the Dev is dead. Jacob! Drew! Drew! No! Actually, I think that's how I'm going to do it going forward. If you see a stream title with "and chill," that means it's a Yap stream. That's going to be the easiest way going forward to figure out what streams are about what topics. If it ends with a "and chill," it's a Yap stream. Kevin V and a Voron V2.4. Well, that's perfect, Kevin. So you're going to get a spool of filament for your Voron V2.4. Congratulations. So congratulations, Kevin V. You have won yourself a spool of filament from POLYMAKER. Find you here. Kevin. There we go. So yeah, so going forward, I'm trying to reorganize a bunch of stuff on the channel and like some of the processes and the workflow and the way I do stuff on the back end. But I think that's like, I need to get one of those sites set up with like all the links and everything, and I want to put the stream schedule on that. And I'm going to have a little footnote that's basically like, if the stream is titled XYZ and chill, it's a Yap stream where I might be working on something, but it's going to be an open topic floor and random subjects will come up. That way, because I know some people really don't like it if I talk about anything other than 3D printing on this channel, but 9 hours of talking, I got to talk about something. I don't like doing Discord announcements other than the I'm going live, because if I announce too many announcements out there, people just put the Discord on mute and then nobody sees the announcements. So I like to only do announcements if it's like, hey, I'm live right now. Time to reach the square. I know I need to get a website set up too. But we're gonna call it there. Video tomorrow, I guess. I gotta go edit that now, or in the morning. We'll see how I feel after I extract it and see how long I got, how much I actually have to edit. And then, yeah, I might move videos from Thursdays. I usually do videos on Thursdays because I stream on Tuesday, Friday, and Saturday. So I don't want to put videos out on those days because I also have a stream scheduled, and that does kind of impact both in video and thing. I've noticed it in the past, if I put a video out and then I go live, the video kind of when I go live. So I don't like putting videos out on those days. So I do it on Thursday because I don't usually do any, like, that gives me, the Wednesday I have nothing going on. So Wednesday gives me like the day to edit and make sure I got everything good. I could put the video out early for subscribers, and then I put the video out Thursday. But Thursday's a weekday. But let's be honest, tons of YouTube channels release videos on Thursdays and any day of the week, not just weekends, because all the other 3D printing people I notice put out videos on like the Friday or the Saturday. So I do want to be a little different. So I'm going to stick with the Thursday for a bit. But after a bit, if traction doesn't improve on videos, I may move it to Sunday. We'll see. But we're going to call it there. It is late. I am eepy, and I got work to do now. So I hope you enjoyed the stream. I know it was a complete yap stream, but I got actually a bunch of work done on the power armor stuff. So that's good, because I want to get this suit done so I can move on to other big projects. Because I also want to do that electric scooter that I was working on. But I stopped working on it because it got cold. So that'll be a spring project. So enjoy your weekend. Be safe out there. Wash your hands. And I will see you in the future. But before that, shout out to POLYMAKER for the spool affiliate giveaway this stream and every stream. Go buy some gamer subs. Use code Canuck in the video description. Links in the description. Affiliate links don't cost you anything extra. Go a long way supporting the channel. And for those that donate to the channel, gift memberships to others. Became members of the channel yourself. Thank you. Not be able to do the things I do, create the content I create without your continued support. Cheers.